1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Handoff, Kareem Hunt, right side, powering. He is. Give it to him. Touchdown! Kansas City. It's a walk-off touchdown by Kareem Hunt, and the Kansas City Chiefs stay undefeated at 8-0.
Who else? Mitch Holthus on Chiefs Radio. Overtime, but the Chiefs get the win. What else is new? 8-0 now on the season. Perloff in a game where the Bucs really took it to the Chiefs, but a couple key mistakes, in my opinion, by the Bucs really handed this back to Kansas City, and now they march on. They got Denver next week, so I assume that's another W. There's just nothing they can't survive, the Chiefs.
Why would you assume that? I mean, they took the ghost of a Bucs team to overtime. I came away with ooh, Kansas City is dying to lose a game. They should have won that game by 21 points, and they just are so conservative on offense. They're like, we're just going to beat you at the end. But guess what? You can't win every coin flip game until the end of time. At a certain point,
says?
That's it. Well, you're a Bills fan because I saw it with the Patriots. The Patriots were the best team. Eventually, you lose coin flip games, and it doesn't look like they want to beat anybody by more than 6 points.
Man, it's so funny that you and I just see this so differently. You see it as they should have blown out the Bucs team. I get that. I also think Todd Bowles had a little something ready. He's a good defensive coach. I thought they made a major miscalculation when they go and score what would have been eventually was the tying touchdown. You have an opportunity to go for two in bad weather on the road against the Chiefs. Do you think you can get one play, or do you think you can actually stop the Chiefs on a drive? And I know they had stopped them before with the 3 timeouts and forced the 3 and out that even allowed the Bucs to get a second bite at the apple to tie the game. But I see it as, look at all the things the Chiefs have overcome in this game. You've got 2 guys on the offense who may be the two most important people outside of Kelsey and the offensive linemen in DeAndre Hopkins and Kareem Hunt, who are guys who just got there. They look like they've been in the offense now. I know Hunt was there before. They look like they've been in the offense forever. Hopkins, 8 for 86, 2 touchdowns. This is a team that I thought Mahomes gets hurt at the first play of the fourth quarter. You're thinking, oh no, here comes Carson Wentz. How hilarious is that because of our relationship with Wentz on the show? And they still overcame it and the bad weather.
Wentz definitely would have won that game. Can we all agree on that? He looked ready to go.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly,
always love Wentz.
That's a high-end backup. And they said on the broadcast, everyone in Kansas City is like, wow, why is this guy our backup? He's really good.
Well, he never got in the game because Patrick Mahomes is superhuman.
Wouldn't the irony be if Wentz came in as a backup in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl when the exact opposite happened to him in 2017 where he got hurt in his MVP season and Nick Foles took over? What if he full circle becomes Nick Foles?
Right,
Work with me here. That is a movie script. But that being said, I mean, the Chiefs have these long drives that they're just dying to turn the ball over. You saw it last night. They let the Bucs back in because Kelsey fumbled.
Yep.
And There's some.
That's rare.
They have these giant negative plays. I don't think Xavier Worthy's very good. He cost them a touchdown early. They definitely they went to overtime against a team whose starting wide receivers were Sterling Shepard and Josh Palmer or Trey Palmer or somebody Palmer. Like, this was not a good Bucs team, and they probably should have lost. If they didn't get that huge face mask call, then I think the Bucs were, which wasn't a face mask, probably a hold. The Bucs were going to come down and take a 2-score lead and not let it go. I think they could lose to anybody because they are not beating anybody by more than a touchdown. Who could they beat? They just took the Raiders to a 1-touchdown game. The Raiders.
That's a division game. And by
Doesn't
the way,
matter. Wait, what team have they beaten by more than a touchdown?
but Perloff, it's not college. You don't have to go for style points.
But you can't win all these close games. You just can't, Maggie.
They're 8-0. I'm watching them do it
8-0.
year after year.
The Eagles were 10-1 last year, and you could see the water coming onto the boat. I think the Chiefs will clearly get it together in the postseason, but they're itching to blow a game.
Okay, but last year, this is totally different. The Eagles
How?
were 10-1, and it turns out that the head coach and the quarterback couldn't stand each other. This is not that. This is not a Chiefs team that seems that there's like any kind of fractures in the inner workings here. Unless the wives and girlfriends are going to start going at it, I don't think there's anything. Like, the chemistry appears to be completely fine, and I don't think it matters about the margin. You know, we saw last year, the Ravens were blowing teams out.
Right.
You know, what happened when it got to the AFC Championship game? Who cares then? You know, the Chiefs playing, you can look at it the totally opposite way, which is the Chiefs win these close games. They are battle tested. And we know they're already battle tested. They're already the boogeyman. So to me, it doesn't matter how many touchdowns they win by. The fact is they always find a way to win.
I don't have time to pull the metrics, but I would bet it's the opposite way. I would bet Super Bowl teams win blowouts. I'll bet you point differential does matter. I mean, the Ravens were a fluke last year. They lost at home, and their offensive coaching just fell apart in the playoffs. They just got nervous. I think if you look at the history of the NFL, margin of victory does matter.
Okay, but this is not your average normal, we're talking a lot about data points and stuff, considering it's election day and such. You can't apply any of that, I don't think, to the Chiefs because they're on a different plane right now. You want to go back to the Bills, maybe, the third straight Super Bowl or whatever, but that's going back to the 90s. The league's so different then, and Mahomes is so different. So I don't think all that, I'm not throwing out all your data. I'm just saying I don't know if a lot of it applies.
I just got the sense last night that the Chiefs don't care that much about the regular season games. It didn't feel like they put the pedal to the metal. I felt like they're like, you know what, we're going to be conservative here. I felt like there's a different, almost like it's a preseason game and they're hiding things for the Bills in the playoffs.
Oh my gosh.
I really do think like this is, I mean, their offense is so vanilla. I mean, I heard they average 4.6 yards per play. I mean, that is not going to get it done.
Well, did you see what happened when they tried a trick play? That was a disaster. So maybe they should be more vanilla.
But they're definitely holding something back because this is clearly not the Chiefs offense that I knew as a young man.
Yes, it's not your father's. Here's the thing. You think that they were not actually putting their pedal to the metal here or like not trying to win? I think the exact opposite way. And you want to know why I think they are not only, this is their version of pedal to the metal, I think they're going for the undefeated season. And the way that and the evidence that I had of that last night is what Patrick Mahomes has an ankle injury in what week are we? 9? Mm-hmm. Week 9, when you already have blown away the division, there's no reason for Mahomes to finish that game. That's how I know that they are actually trying to win all of these games, and I think they are going for the undefeated season as the cherry on top of this three-peat that's going to make Mahomes put Brady like in a blender. And because honestly, Pearl, I know Mahomes came back and played well, but he's definitely, that ankle, something happened. I mean, he did have to get helped off the field. If you're really just preserving yourself for the playoffs, why does he go back in the game?
I'm an Eagles fan. There are no such thing as Patrick Mahomes' ankle injuries. It's all fake. Yes. Dude was jogging up and down the field 2 minutes later. I've had many ankle injuries. I totally get it. Going for an undefeated season or not going for an undefeated season, they're not going to have an undefeated season. I just don't think. I really don't think they're playing that way right now. Even the defense, which has been great, Baker looked pretty darn comfortable in the second half of that game, and this is with no wide receivers. He had one target. It was K-Dot and his tight end. I just think that, the Chiefs are messing around a little bit, and they're going to find out at some point. They went to overtime at home against an injury-ridden losing team. So what out of that makes you say, oh, they're going to run the table for the second half of the season? Honestly, I feel like they're going to take a couple games off. I don't. And also,
Wouldn't
you
they
say
have last night though? If when Mahomes
Tampa Bay
sprains the ankle
No,
in the
they
first
can't.
play of the fourth quarter, basically.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. I mean, he was fine.
But this is an AFC versus the NFC. If you were going to say this is the game that means very little, next week you could say you got Denver coming up. They're going to beat Denver soundly, obviously.
Wait. No, I don't.
But that
think
means way more.
Soundly, what? 24-17. What does Soundly?
They're going to beat them.
Look at these scores. They beat Baltimore 27-20. Edge Cincinnati 26-25, Atlanta 22-17, Chargers 17-10. That's a game they'll probably lose. New Orleans, the awful New Orleans Saints 26-13. That's their biggest win of the year.
Yeah, but that was like week. I think the Saints were still a shadow of a team.
I think that was I don't know.
They were gone.
Yeah,
what did they do to the 49ers?
I mean,
beat them by 10 on the road. Are you not impressed? Are you not entertained?
No. Against the Niners, that Niners team. How many players do the Niners have in uniform?
I know, but it's on the road. It's an NFL game, Perloff. This is not college. This isn't, playing Northwest Southeast State University. You're not trying to impress the committee here.
So let me ask, do you think they will go undefeated based on what you saw last night?
I'll tell you this. I think they're going for the undefeated season. Whether they actually get it, I'm looking at the rest of their schedule, and they've won in Buffalo before. So it's Broncos at the Bills, at the Panthers. Raiders are terrible. They already beat the Chargers on the road. Then they get them at home. The Browns are awful. The Texans' offense is also not awesome. Mm-hmm. And then you got the Steelers. That one could be interesting. That's the second to last week of the season. And then the last week with the Broncos might mean absolutely jack squat, and it probably will. Because they're going to have the division wrapped up. Did they already have it wrapped up, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Steelers game might not mean anything.
Yeah,
I just think that I disagree with you that margin of victory doesn't matter. Numbers do matter. They're borderline a top 10 offense, borderline a top 10 defense. Like, at some point, you just can't chip down the field and hand the ball off 30 times a game and wait for the other team's waiting for you to make a mistake on those drives. And that was Todd Bowles' strategy last night. I thought he did not put a lot of pressure on Mahomes. At a certain point, one of these mistakes is going to hurt them. And also, the other thing, too, is, I think people are on to the officiating. Every call against the Chiefs, fair or not. I don't think the officiating was much of an issue last night. I thought it was pretty even.
Well,
but every call, was silly. At a certain point, they're not going to get a call. And that's going to also cost them. There's going to be a bad call against them. So far, they've kind of gotten most of the good calls. But I'm not into the conspiracy theory that they need the Chiefs to be competitive because Taylor Swift's in the crowd. But I do think if you play every game within a touchdown, eventually a call is going to go against you, a turnover is going to go against you. So I have no faith in them getting to undefeated, which, by the way, that's what we're talking about right now. I have a lot of faith in them in the playoffs.
Of course, getting to the Super Bowl. They were 12 for 18 on third down last night.
Yeah, I know. But by the way, is that good or bad?
Well,
is that good or bad? They need.
It's fantastic.
You're not going to get 80% on third down against every defense the rest of the way. The fact that they had to get to that many third downs, this is, again, I'm sure, Andy Reid's what has happened to my offense? What is this?
No, see, I look at it the totally other way. They lost all these weapons, right? They actually, I think, went into the season saying, we're going to try for more explosive plays. You got Xavier Worthy, the speed guy. You got Rice. You feel like you got Hollywood Brown. If you look at the breadcrumbs that they were laying out for the season, you thought they were actually going to go back to the Tyreek Hill era.
But they have none of that.
Well, because the guys got injured, so they had to pivot. And look at the great job. They've pivoted. They've had to bring two major guys in on the offense, and they're undefeated. We're basically at midseason.
But last night's game was certainly not impressive. They went to overtime against an injured Bucs team in Kansas City. Maybe the rain helped. I don't know. But that definitely, they easily could have lost last night to a team that they should soundly beat. I mean, most of the playoffs, if that game, the Ravens would have killed that Bucs team. I think the Chargers would have beaten that Bucs team soundly. This was, all you had to do was watch out for the running backs coming out of the backfield and cover Kate Otten, and boom, the Bucs had nothing.
Man, if the Chargers play the Bucs, I don't even know who would be favored in that game. To say they'd beat them soundly is insane.
I think the Bucs are down.
Well, they've lost 4 of their last 5, and they have major injuries too, and it doesn't look like the cavalry is coming to help them. The Chiefs are aggressive. They needed help. They needed Hunt. They needed DeAndre Hopkins, and they're not letting it go. And the defense is good enough. I'm curious. It's so funny. We see this totally different. I'm curious about the audience. 855-212-4227. How do you see the Chiefs? More dangerous than ever, or more vulnerable than ever?
Regular season. I'm not going to go. I mean,
we're taking it 1 week at a time.
I mean, I think they clearly are working on things in the regular season, which is funny because they're 8-0, but I'm sure we're going to see a different thing in the postseason. Because that's as the Chiefs always say, the regular season is the preseason for them. It works, but it's not working the way they want to. They do not want to go to overtime at home against a wide receiver-less Bucs team. That is not part of the plan.
Well, it might not be ideal, but again, they still won. I guess
Also,
I don't see these major changes coming for them. Like, they go on these long, sustained drives. Yes, there's opportunities there for mistakes and such, but they aren't a very penalized team. They don't make mistakes. They're phenomenal on third down, and they do ball control. Yeah, you could look at that when they play actually some of the better quarterbacks in the league when they're going up against the Lamar Jacksons and Joe Burrows and the Josh Allens. That's actually a great strategy.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's probably going to win them another Super Bowl. Maybe. Even that, like look at last year's Super Bowl. They won 25-22, could have easily gone the other way. Like, how many coin flips are you going to win? You knew last night when Baker Mayfield was standing out there with midfield with Patrick Mahomes that Mayfield was definitely losing that coin toss. You got to go heads in that situation. But regardless, like, you cannot. I just think if you look at it analytically, like, these tight games mean something.
855-212-4227. And of course, Mahomes downplays the whole ankle thing after the game.
Yeah,
it's going to be fine.
Whatever. I saw him limping into the locker room in Glendale, Arizona, with the Eagles up 24-14, and he didn't miss a pass in the second half and scrambled like crazy. The other thing, too, like, these close games is forcing Mahomes to run around way too much.
The Chiefs have won their last 8 games when trailing at halftime, including the postseason.
That was sweet.
Yeah. Say that again.
That was sweet.
Literally. 855-212-4227. Regular season Chiefs. That's fine. We're taking it week by week. What are we rushing things for?
Do they get another player, by the way? That's another question. We have the trade deadline today. I feel like they're missing one little piece that they'll probably get.
How many more guys do you want to put on the Chiefs?
Apparently they need a cornerback, and when they want something, it seems like they get him.
Awesome. Bring Marshawn Lattimore in. Phenom.
Yeah. I don't actually. I wonder. Like, everybody wants the Cleveland guy.
Is it Arius Smith?
No, Newsom.
Oh.
So, yeah, I could just see the Chiefs getting a shutdown guy who will clamp down on Keon Coleman in the playoffs.
That's great.
I got Joe Buck just bringing up casually 13 seconds. Like, and Bills fans know, don't need a lot of time on the clock. It's like, yeah, we know. Everyone knows. All right?
I also, I was curious, what are your thoughts? Remember draft night, the Chiefs drafting Xavier Worthy was like the worst thing that ever happened to Maggie Gray.
It was. I took it personally.
Yeah.
But unlike Michael Jordan, I can do nothing about it.
Can you admit you were wrong?
Not yet. Nope.
Oh, that's a Xavier Worthy I knew at Texas. That is, yeah.
By the way, he was getting totally destroyed on social media last night. I understand it was a lack of awareness of where he was. He ended up going out of bounds, so they ruled it not a catch. It was just an incompletion because he was out of bounds. I understand that. The avalanche, at least on my timeline, of vitriol that he got was completely out of whack. This is the first drive of the game. It was totally out of whack with what actually happened. The guy's a rookie. He's going to make some mistakes, and you've got another hour to make up for it, and you're the Chiefs.
Well, it's not even that. It's just the fact that he was so easy to tackle on the reverse, and there was another run where he just, like, a guy breathed on him and he went down, and then he had another drop.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is halfway through his rookie year.
Yeah,
Wait till we get to the postseason. If he makes one big play, it's worth it.
No, it's not. This is a first-round pick. Like, they could just pull up McCole Hardman out, or a million guys could make one big play for the Chiefs.
Hardman was there last night.
They could get a 7th-round pick to make one big play. That was a first-round pick, and I think they took the wrong guy. I have that sense. Not that Keon Coleman, like, Legette's probably better than him. I think Coleman might be better than him, but because there's no maybe it's the way they resigned. There's just they don't feel like they have any chance at a bomb. They had one sort of bomb because Mahomes threw the ball in the air to DeAndre Hopkins, who was triple teamed at the time, by the way.
He's amazing. 855-212-4227. I mean, sheesh. DeAndre Hopkins, 2 touchdowns last night. 8 catches, 86 yards, and big stuff.
And thank God for him. Can you imagine what they would have done in the red zone without him?
Someone else.
Yeah.
Okay, do you see the Chiefs as more vulnerable than ever, more dangerous than ever? 855-212-4227. We got to stop this run that we're on right now, and I just have a plea and a beg to everyone in the NFL community. If you're going to fire your coach, can you do it like at 9:30 a.m. Eastern as opposed to 10:01 the moment we get off the air?
Yeah.
This has happened now with Robert Saleh, Dennis Allen yesterday,
I'm
There
actually
was
good.
also a trade. Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, 10:02.
Yeah.
Can they just start waking up earlier?
I'm
We're up.
perfectly good missing the Dennis Allen is fired story. Should never been the coach. I don't care if you fire him. Like, I want to know what's going on in that front office. You brought him back this year.
Crazy. 855-212-4227. So we'll get to some of the news that we have of the day. Lots to do here. We got a lot of college football. We got a lot of NFL. College basketball is underway. We know our audience, you guys love college hoops. We're going to get you set for that season as well. It's Maggie and Perloff.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening. Because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of shields, guards, and Real Fit products. Boyd in Mississippi. Learn more at Depend.com.
You're in a 4.5-minute break. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good idea. All right, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff Show. I mean, obviously, I think we have to mention it. It's a huge day. We've been preparing for this for a while. I know everyone's nervous. Trade deadline today, and I'm sure my Eagles are going to make a move.
Yeah, that's the only thing going on today.
Yeah, I mean, do the Niners get a receiver? I'm curious about that. Do the Lions get a pass rusher? Can we get Maxx Crosby? I really think that the Dolphins should just sell everybody and give Tyreek Hill to a contender. But we'll see. America waits on that. Meanwhile, in Dallas, I don't know if there's any move they can make because you said it yesterday, and now I'm agreeing with you. I tried to fight back and say the Cowboys season was still alive, but I can't put a fork in it. It's done, Maggie.
Not only is it done, and I hate to do this because this guy's done nothing to deserve it, but the shine's going to come off of Cooper Rush here pretty fast. Because think about it. The Cowboys were playing terrible with Dak Prescott. The run game is not what it was when Cooper Rush took over 2 years ago. The defense is still injured. This is not the same team that he's taking over when he went 4-1.
Wow.
This is a reeling Cowboys team that was, quite frankly, probably looking for a reason to quit.
I can't go with you on that. Cooper Rush is going to give you completely adequate backup quarterback football.
It's not his fault. I don't think he is a prayer. The team's not good enough. The offensive line isn't good enough than the last time he took over. The run game's not good enough. The defense isn't what it was. It's a different team.
I don't know. I'm not sure I see it that way. I don't think Cooper Rush is going to be like Tim Boyle was for the Jets.
Well, nothing's going to be that bad.
Cooper Rush is like they'll tailor the offensive game to him. They're not going to make him do anything crazy, and they're not going to be a high octane offense. But I think that Cooper Rush gives them a chance to stay in games for sure.
Who's he throwing to? Dak Prescott could keep him a chance to stay in games. I mean, that's not fair. Dak was keeping them in games, but Dak wasn't playing well.
Ooh.
The team is not awesome around him. And who's Cooper throwing to? CeeDee Lamb's hurt now. He's going to play through it. He's got the shoulder. So Brandon Cooks is on IR. Who else are you throwing to?
If they had Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and I don't know, Deebo Samuel, like it doesn't matter. Cooper Rush can't hit a receiver downfield anyway. He's a throw the ball to the running back tight end guy.
Who?
Anybody. He's a throw, but he doesn't need receivers. Cooper Rush is not hitting your receiver 45 yards downfield on a fly route, Maggie. That's not happening anyway. Cooper Rush is going to be a very conservative offense, and the Cowboys' formula was, okay, we have Cooper Rush in there. Let's let the defense cook. Maybe the defense comes back. I'm not saying that they're going to get to the playoffs or anything like that, but if the defensive players decide to come back, like the Cooper Rush formula will win some games against bad teams. I'm basing that on history.
Okay, but they don't have a lot of bad teams on the schedule outside of the New York Giants. Your Eagles next week, the Texans, Commanders is now a really tough game. Giants, Bengals, okay, at the Panthers, good luck there. You can probably win that game. Bucs, Eagles, Commanders. This is not the walkovers. And by the way, this is a reeling team that's lost 3 in a row. And I don't know what you're expecting. Like, Micah Parsons is not going to be some kind of miracle worker here.
Well, I mean, like, you say those games, the Eagles, you're right. The Eagles are playing well, but they have Nick Sirianni. The Texans are not playing well. The Texans are not a good team right now. They almost lost to the Colts. Like, they're going to keep that game close. The way the Texans are playing right now, I don't see them blowing out anybody in Dallas. Then the Commanders, that's a big unknown. The Commanders should beat the Cowboys, obviously, but I think you have no idea when in a divisional game.
I don't know. I think Dan Quinn's got something cooked up probably for the Dallas Cowboys. If anyone knows the offense, it's going to be their former defensive coordinator. I don't see this Cooper Rush to the rescue stuff. And you and I talked about it.
It's not Cooper Rush to the rescue, but you're saying Cooper Rush is going to be a disaster. I don't think so at all.
Well, I just don't think that. I don't want to set up unreal expectations for the guy. Honestly, any backup quarterback on this team, I don't think would be very good. You want to know why? Because I saw their starter, who was being paid $60 million, not be very good. So you can beat bad teams. You won and beat Pittsburgh on the road. Fantastic. You got that one. Maybe it was a bit of an outlier.
You never would have seen that coming.
No, but that was a weird game. The weather, they were still rocking with Fields at the time. So
they'll have a couple more of those.
The Cowboys have beaten the Browns, the New York Giants, and the Steelers. That is not anything to write home about. It's not.
No, but that being said, like they'll lose 24-17 with Cooper Rush. I don't think they're going to lose 41-7 to the Eagles.
Sure, fine. I mean, again, I don't care about style points. I just really care about what does it look like.
But they're going to lose 24-17 with Dak Prescott. I don't think. Like, this team with Dak, the way they're constituted right now, wasn't going to win either, especially if CeeDee Lamb is out. Oh, my God. But CeeDee Lamb, now what's the latest? He's going to play, right?
It looks like he's going to play. Dak's going to be out multiple games. He's already been ruled out for the Eagles game. Let's hear a little Mike McCarthy says he feels good about Cooper Rush facing the Eagles.
Our focus is really to go into this and have a game plan to beat the Eagles defense, and we have great confidence in Cooper.
Okay. More on Cooper's strengths.
Cooper Rush is as respected as a backup quarterback that I would say since Rich Gannon. He carries that type of credibility. You know, he's a great teammate. He's someone that you can see the young guys lean on. Wicked smart, instinctive. Does a great job on it. When he runs a scout team. So I mean, he just does everything the right way.
Yeah! Here we go!
Does he have the cadence?
Here we go!
By the way, are we still saying wicked? I haven't heard that one in a while. Wicked smart.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I've heard someone use that term.
That's like our generation, millennials. We used to say wicked all the time.
I thought just Boston people said it, like the Dunkin' Donut ads.
Oh, maybe. We said it when I was like in high school.
Yeah, I
smart.
think maybe people in Boston still do it, I feel like, but I don't know about anyone else.
Anyway, yeah, he can be as respected as anyone. That's not the point of contention here about Cooper Rush. It's that the Cowboys are just not a very good football team. So if your starting quarterback couldn't do a lot with this team, how is the backup expected to do anything?
Right, but I mean, nobody's arguing against you here. Was there a narrative that Cooper Rush is going to come in and save the day? I did not see that anywhere.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, the question is, will Cooper Rush perform admirably as a backup? Oh, definitely. He'll be like, I'm telling you, he's going to be like 15 for 27 for 178 yards. 1 touchdown, no pick. He'll have a few of those games.
Honestly, they should put Trey Lance in. See if you got a Hail Mary here with Trey Lance, if there's anything. Because I know you're locked into Prescott. I get that, but I don't know.
I think whoever plays it'd be for the best for the Cowboys that none of them play well because they need to just put the season to bed and get a high draft pick. That should be their
what
focus.
though? To take a quarterback? Not going to do that after you just
you're not
paid
take
Dak.
a quarterback, but you could get a high-end wide receiver.
Oh.
Or
They
you
need
can
one
get
of those.
a Travis Hunter could do both ways.
Yeah.
Get a corner and a DB in one. Like they need high-end talent. This is not a talented team.
They will draft a guard.
And then I don't think they will.
Right.
I don't think they will this time.
Will McClay loves his guards, and I think he's secretly running the show. He will take an interior offensive lineman with the number 3 pick. No, I'm just kidding. But why they came in the season, like you watch the Cowboys, you could be a kid who knows nothing about football. You could even be me. And you could tell like this team has one wide receiving target in CeeDee Lamb. And Brandon Cooks is toast. So they came in the season and they did not get a compliment to him. They had no chance because of that. I don't even care about the running back situation. It's like we all know Dak has one guy he can really throw to in CeeDee Lamb. And if you just cover him, which I don't understand how teams let him get open, if you just cover CeeDee Lamb, that team is toast, right? So this is like that all-in crap. I can't believe I even for 1 second bought that. Because they went all out this offseason. Now we're seeing the fruits of it. And I try to hold on to this Cowboys team. But that being said, like I'm honestly surprised that Micah Parsons has been out this long. That I'm very curious to see what his season looks like. Because what if he just shuts it down?
855-212-4227. Waiting on that big contract. Andrew Bogish is here.
Also
Awesome.
waiting on that big contract.
I was gonna say it, and then I'm like, any day now.
Who's gonna give it to me?
Cool Whalers sweater, dude.
Oh, thank you, dude. It's wicked cool.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, you gave it away. We were debating, does EJ know the team that Bogish is wearing? But you weren't alive, I don't think, when the Whalers were a team.
I was really young, though, I think. I think they moved when I was like 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's like some old video games I would play and be like, "Who's the Hartford Whalers?"
Oh, right,
You know,
right.
I'm like, "Oh, okay."
We
Got
had their
it.
minor league team for a bit.
In Binghamton?
Binghamton Whalers.
Oh.
The merch wasn't as cool. Back to you, Bogues.
Do they do whaling in Binghamton? I wasn't aware that there was any.
At the crossroads of the Susquehanna and the Shenango River, big whaling.
Yeah.
community.
Was it Moby Dick said in Binghamton?
It
I
was.
can't remember.
Urban Melville, very depressed person, also in Binghamton.
Your headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks and use code M&P and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Manned P.
It took a little longer than expected, but the Chiefs beat the Bucs on Monday Night Football to remain perfect this season.
Definitely scary. I think it hurt more just because it's the same ankle I rolled last week. So it scared me a little bit. But once I kind of took my breath and kind of calmed down a little bit, ended up being not too bad. And we were able to go in there, kind of get the respat, and go back on the football field.
So I'm off and running. That was supposed to be a Kevin Harlan highlight of Kareem Hunt scoring the game-winning touchdown on Westwood 1. The Chiefs get a 30-24 OT decision over the Bucs. Hunt 106 yards in addition to the game-ending score. Patrick Mahomes, who you might know his voice of, threw 3 touchdowns, 2 to his new friend DeAndre Hopkins. Most importantly, he did not seriously injure his left ankle, as he just told you.
That was sweet.
The Bucs falling to 4-5 despite leading 17-10 through 3 quarters. They are 2 full games behind the Falcons in the NFC South now.
Question for you, Maggie Gray.
Yeah.
You notably cursed on social media on Sunday when Tyler Bass hit a 61-yard field goal. I could almost in my head hear you cursing when DeAndre Hopkins was making all those catches because he's clearly going to have a game-winning touchdown against your Bills.
Thank you.
Wow.
So where was the curse on social media? I was looking for it. I didn't see it. Because you have to admit, there were curse words flying in the Gray household last night. Like, how did they get that bleeping guy? Did that come through your mind once?
A little bit. No, it did. And if the Bills hadn't gotten Amari Cooper, who was hurt already.
I said, did he play Sunday?
He did not.
How'd Keon Coleman do?
Also bad.
Yeah, by the way, Amari Cooper and DeAndre Hopkins do not feel like the same thing to me. I'm not sure why.
No, Hopkins would have been awesome. Would have been
Mind the
wicked
guy.
awesome.
Yeah, right.
Hopkins would have been wicked awesome. Cooper's fine.
Cooper's fine. DeAndre Hopkins looks like a game-changing weapon.
Shocker.
But
Go to
that
the
being said,
Chiefs.
like usually wide receiver trades at the midseason are not that impactful. This is an exception.
Perloff, I'm choosing to focus more on my team, and I can't control what other teams do. So, yeah, it was more just sad.
It does feel like you, in the past, it's interesting you say that. In the past, I've heard you say many things about those bleeping Chiefs. Now you're focused on the Bills, and last night you weren't screaming at your TV at any point.
No,
just to be clear.
I was just resigned to this is the fate of, living in the Mahomes era.
Yeah.
When he tweaked the ankle at first, I was like, the door opening? But no, you're never, first of all, you don't want to win that way. You want to beat someone straight up. And secondly,
Trust me, you'll win any way you can win.
So,
that's it.
Maggie, when you wrote this tweet last night, how did anyone think DeAndre Hopkins wouldn't is in all caps. That feels like an angry tweet. Wouldn't be a difference maker for the Chiefs. It doesn't feel like a non-angry tweet.
Well, I apologize for shouting. But
I just picture. Can you actually read that one dramatically? Let's hear it.
How loud is wouldn't in your head when you type it?
That is in your voice.
this is DeAndre Hopkins scores.
Yeah, okay.
Finally! Well, we knew that was a matter of time. All right, Manny, put the music down.
You might lose my screen. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. So this is him scoring a touchdown, me on the couch like this. I was not on the treadmill last night. He on the couch just going, how did anyone think DeAndre Hopkins wouldn't be a difference maker for the Chiefs?
Oh, that's it. There
was
it
it.
is.
To an
There
empty
it is.
room? You're shouting this and typing? Okay.
Yeah. No, my child nestled
They're in the
right in his
bunker in
bed.
the basement.
Visions of sugar plums.
Your husband, Maggie, once again, our son is asleep.
Yeah.
My husband's so scared.
It's
of me
a
now.
week 9 Bucs Chiefs game. No need to scream.
No, he's just like he's in a different room.
Yeah.
I'd love to say wing of the house, but we don't have that big of a house.
It sounds like he needs to engineer you some kind of shanty in the backyard.
Soundproof box.
You just watch football outside so the rest of them can have a regular life. And go to sleep. Eat a meal.
Regular life. I was born into this, all right? I was born into the darkness. You guys are just renting. What's that line from Batman?
Oh, come on. I'm a Philly fan. Get out of here.
You've seen championships. What's the line, EJ? I was born into the darkness.
Yes, I was born into the darkness. You merely were adopted. I was molded by it, raised by it.
Thank you. This is me. Haters. Who said that?
Bane.
Yeah.
You know who does
Tom
a really
Hardy.
good Bane? Peter Schwartz.
Yes.
Kind of sounds like.
Oh yes, we've done those.
By the way, I have a Batman related great debate possibly.
That's interesting. Oh, I think I know what you're doing.
No, it's not even sports.
No,
Just the greatest Batman?
I heard this debate.
I'm into it.
I heard a huge debate in a song actually about who's the greatest Batman actor. And I'm curious. It says a lot about you which Batman actor you like, I think.
I think you're going to say what's the best sports nickname after a skinny Batman?
Skinny Batman being number one. And so after Skinny Batman, Devontae Smith on the Eagles is pretty. You love that one, EJ.
It's amazing. Yes.
Love into your Bonnie Macarena.
Yeah, that's very Bane-like. If Bane had a sense of humor and Jones for free cupcakes, that would really be Bane.
We should have him do the reads.
Arena Football League.
Yeah. We should have him do the reads as Bane. MNP, Man P.
Listen, Peter Schwartz is awesome in my book, not just because he's a fun guy, but he got us Jeff Fisher.
Victor Wembanyama.
Here is Schwartz as Bane.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
He's also the Count, apparently.
That's a bit Russian.
Two rubber duckies.
Was Bane from Transylvania?
Yes. You guys mentioned this a second ago. The good news in Dallas is C.D. Lamb's shoulder injury does not appear to be too serious. He's got a chance to play Sunday against the Eagles. The bad news is Dak Prescott, multiple week absence thanks to that hamstring. He's reportedly seeking second opinions on treatment options. Why? Christian McCaffrey back at Niners practice yesterday as expected. The team now has 21 days to return him to their active roster. Opening night in college hoops meant the debut of Cooper Flagg, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists in number 7 Duke's 92-62 home win over Maine. Hunter Dickinson might be old enough to be Flagg's dad. He's still in college, 16 points, 6 boards as top-ranked Kansas handled Howard 87-57.
Is he like AARP eligible?
Did he? Wasn't he on that Ramil Robinson Michigan team in 1989? I mean, what are we doing here? He's still around?
I was stunned when I saw this morning, and I thought I knew college basketball. I'm like, how does this guy still have a year? Because he was at Michigan for multiple years, and this is year 2 at Kansas. He has to be done now.
Yeah.
Was there another pandemic that we missed? Like, how many years are these guys getting?
He got a COVID year then. Is that what you're saying?
I think this is the last year of guys getting the 5th year.
By the way, I discovered a new college basketball player. You guys heard of this Cooper Flagg kid who I'm claiming is only Andrew Perloff's Cooper Flagg?
No, never heard of who that.
If he keeps playing Maine every game, he's going to be a superstar.
Are they in the ACC after ACC expansion?
Yeah.
Maine put up a tough fight last night on the ACC network. I felt like I was the only one who actually found that game because I had to Google. I'm like, where is Cooper Flagg playing?
It took me 10 minutes to find where that game was yesterday. It was like, I mean, it's Duke. I know a lot was going on, but I was like, where is this game?
There was a game last night. It was only on YouTube.
Well, on Fox Sports, they just were jumping through Big East games. You want to talk about confusing? I'm looking for St. John's, and I see at first Xavier playing, and then I flip back, and then Villanova's playing, and I'm like, are they just not going to show one game? And apparently they weren't. It was just Big East action.
Oh, they're doing Red Zone.
Oh, Big East Red Zone.
Yeah. But the funny thing was,
okay
like, Butler was in a nail biter, and they were doing. I could only see half the screen, and I couldn't even see what was going on. They almost lost to Missouri State. I was on college basketball last night, and I'll forget it exists in about 2 weeks.
Well, that's an opening day. Jump on a bandwagon.
I was really excited,
Classic
and I
Perloff.
watched Juju Watkins in the afternoon. This is going to be a great college year.
Well, later on, we're going to pick our guys and gals for the season, and this is it, by the way.
Wow.
Whoever Perloff picks today, this is it.
Well, considering I know 2 men's players, Cooper Flagg and now Hunter Dickinson, I have limited choices.
We're going to pick our guys and gals. That's it. That's who you're on
for the
week.
Is that Baycott guy still at North Carolina?
No, but R.J. Davis is.
Yes.
Get out of here.
I swear to God.
Yeah.
And to Roy Williams. He's still there.
Bogish, thank you. EJ, you were a little off on the Bane quote.
No, I'm annoyed. You had me just like right off rip where my mind's nowhere near Batman. So I was close.
Andrew Kaplan cleaned it up in the chat. You think darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born into it, molded by it. I didn't see light until I was already a man. By then, it was nothing to me but blinding. Also, Buffalo Bills fans. Bane and Batman. 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. Want to talk about the game from last night. Also, the Cowboys situation with Dak Prescott now missing multiple games with a hamstring injury. Lots to do. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break.
There's a legend on the channel, goes by monthly, always in the chat, commenting bluntly. Maggie and Perloff know the name well. When Monthly's in the mix, there's a story to tell. Monthly's got the takes, bringing the fire on the Infinity Sports Network. He'll never tire, from hot debates to the latest news. Monthly's comments like the fuse. Maggie drops his stat, Perloff makes a joke. Monthly's in the chat, ready to poke. With every hot take, he's quick on the scene, keeping the vibe sharp and the comments clean. Monthly's got the takes, bringing the fire on the Infinity Sports Network. He'll never tire, from hot debates to the latest news. Monthly's comments like the fuse. Maggie drops a stat, Perloff makes a joke. Monthly's in the chat, ready to poke. With every hot take, he's quick on the scene, keeping the vibe sharp and the comments clean. Whether it's a Jets or a Knicks trade, Monthly's opinions never fade. He's got the chat buzzing every show. Maggie and Perloff love his flow. So here's to Monthly, a loyal fan, part of the Infinity Sports Network clan. Maggie and Perloff shout you out. With Monthly in the chat, there's never a doubt. There's a legend on the channel, goes by Monthly, always in the chat, commenting bluntly. Maggie and Perloff know the name well. When Monthly's in the mix, there's a story to tell. Monthly's got the takes, bringing the fire on the Infinity Sports Network. He'll never tire, from hot debates to the latest news. Monthly's comments like the fuse. Maggie drops his stat, Perloff makes a joke. Monthly's in the chat, ready to poke. With every hot take, he's quick on the scene, keeping the vibe sharp and the comments clean. Monthly's got the takes, bringing the fire on the Infinity Sports Network. He'll never tire, from hot debates to the latest news. Monthly's comments like the fuse. Maggie drops a stat, Perloff makes a joke. Monthly's in the chat, ready to poke. With every hot take, he's quick on the scene, keeping the vibe sharp and the comments clean. Whether it's a Jets or a Knicks trade, Monthly's opinions never fade. He's got the chat buzzing every show. Maggie and Perloff love his flow. So here's to Monthly, a loyal fan, part of the Infinity Sports Network clan. Maggie and Perloff shout you out. With Monthly in the chat, there's never a doubt. There's a legend on the channel, goes by Monthly, always in the chat, commenting bluntly. Maggie and Perloff know the name well. When Monthly's in the mix, there's a story to tell. Monthly's got the tape.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Welcome to the show. Got a lot to do. Jason Kelsey apologized last night. We'll get to that in a minute. Our pal Kevin is in San Antonio. Wants to talk about the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Hey, Kev, how are you?
I'm doing fine. What's up, Perloff?
What's up, dude?
Okay. The thing about it, the Cowboys is like, as the world turns, as the star turns.
Yeah, drama all the time.
They got too much drama anyway. Let's go back to the Chiefs. The Chiefs with DeAndre Hopkins is the missing link of the Chiefs. They will go to the Super Bowl.
Yep. Kevin, I'm with you.
Hot take.
Honestly, no, but Kevin's right, because that was a little bit of a hot take. Kevin, great to hear from you, pal. When all the receivers started going down. Now, we thought Rashee Rice might miss part of the season because of the legal stuff with the drag racing thing, but it turns out it was actually just going to be a more conventional injury. Hollywood Brown never saw the field. Isaiah Pacheco's got a broken leg, and he might come back at the end of the month. Just they're getting reinforcements. I think they are running the table.
I'm so confident I would do a huge embarrassing show bet on this that they will not run the table.
Finally, you're shaving the eyebrow?
Obviously the odds are no, I'm not shaving the eyebrow. But I just feel like the fact that they are in every game. And they're such a run team. It's so funny. They're such a run defense team in 2024 NFL. How that happened, I have no idea.
Nate is in Alaska, wants to weigh in on the coaching decision. This was controversial. Todd Bowles at the end of the game, after Tampa had 2 opportunities to tie the game or to win it, they finally connect on a touchdown with about 27 seconds left and decide to kick the extra point instead of going for the W with a 2-point conversion. Nate, what was your reaction when Bowles kicked the extra point?
Well, first off, I've called with you guys all the way up here being a Buccaneers fan, and I've talked about Todd Bowles. And you know who's not wicked smart? It's Todd Bowles. Because you do not take that team to overtime.
Agreed.
You take that chance. You do not let them even get a sniff at overtime.
It's coaching scared.
Well, I'll tell you 2 reasons they did not. And tell me what you guys think. One, the ball was wet, and like you saw on the play before the touchdown that went through Kate Otton's hands. I think they were nervous about that. But 2, you had 27 seconds left. You would have been up 1. If there's 27 seconds left and it's a tie game, you will think Patrick Mahomes will have mercy on you and just push it to overtime and win it there. If he was down 1 point, he was definitely getting in field goal range. I'd love
to take that chance more than trying to stop him in overtime.
That's not even a chance. That's a guarantee. There's no chance. That's a fait accompli. If you give him 27 seconds down 1, he's scoring. If you give it tied, he's just going to run out the clock.
This is also the other thing that I was going to say is because every single time that we have even a sniff of a lead, Todd Bowles does this soft zone defense, and they just rip it up the middle every single time. They did it with Atlanta as well when we went to overtime with them. And as soon as we went to overtime, they just rolled down the field.
Man, it's got to be frustrating, Nate. It does.
Why did they come after Mahomes? Mahomes had a hurt ankle, and like Todd Bowles, Mr. Blitz guy, seemed to be very comfortable sitting back in overtime and in the second half.
That's the other thing, and I'm not going to take much more of your time. The one thing I have to say is just a quick question. What was better? Was it Barkley's back hurdle, or was it Wilson's catch this week?
Oh, man.
Right. Oof.
Nate, thank you for that. I mean, the Barkley backwards hurdle, the
Don't
Birtle,
really care.
That will be, I'm trying to think of the plays that are just run all the time in terms of like NFL highlights. Yeah. That will be in our lives for the rest of our lives.
Did you see the Nike ad? They turned it into a Nike ad. It feels like you just need one image. You know, the Garrett Wilson catch was probably a better play. Obviously, it was catching the ball with one hand at the very end of the end zone. I think it's going to be, you know how D. Brown putting his arm over his eyes became the Reebok logo? I feel like Saquon Barkley jumping backwards could be its shoe logo. Like I would take a shoe with Saquon kind of in full, whatever that was, Bertle.
If only Nike had a logo.
Well, they have Jordan, right?
I mean, they've got two of the most iconic sports logos, the swoosh and the Jumpman.
But
Is there room for a Barkley?
I just feel like this is an iconic image. You're going to be able to see the outline, the silhouette of Barkley jumping and know exactly what it is. And there are very few plays. You know, I've seen silhouettes of Odell's one-handed catch.
Yeah.
That was probably the most impactful play of the last 20 years because now every receiver catches the ball with one hand.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
What was the more impressive? Was it Odell or was it this one? Now, Odell's a touchdown against a division rival. You know, there's Garrett Wilson was a touchdown also, but Barkley's.
Saquon has been jumping over people since he was in college. This is so unimpressive.
Oh, Manny. Giant fan.
By the way, you know who jumps
Salty.
over? Arizona Cardinals tight end Trey McBride jumps over 3 players a game.
But does he do it backwards?
He could. He he should be in the NBA. He jumps over every single linebacker. So I'm with Manny. Like there are a lot of jump overs. The backwards part is pretty cool, and the fact that it works so cleanly. Which I know EJ said he's tried it before. It just was perfect.
Was there a possibility of that going so wrong? And you know what I mean?
Like him
he really
getting hurt?
got hit in the.
In
Could
the
have
what?
been flipped upside down and landed on his neck.
That could have gotten hit right in the.
Oh, they have
He's already got a kid.
A lot of different answers to that question.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Mahomes in the shotgun. Kareem Hunt, the running back, goes in motion to set up a strong side. And now Mahomes looking right. Now the back of the end zone caught. DeAndre Hopkins, welcome to the Chiefs Kingdom. Your first Kingdom touchdown. Kansas City.
Chiefs Radio Network. Everyone excited. DeAndre Hopkins, a difference maker last night. 8 catches, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kelsey had 14 catches for 100 yards. Kareem Hunt was making his impact. And, obviously Mahomes is Mahomes, even though he got banged up in this game. Tweaked an ankle at the beginning of the fourth quarter, but of course stayed in because no one is ever talking Patrick Mahomes out of playing in the game. Apparently the medical staff for the Chiefs might as well just, take the night off.
It's funny. We take it for granted, the crazy stuff he does. Now, the play that he got hurt, he somehow flipped it. And there was a defender between him and the guy who caught the ball. He just flipped it backhanded. It was like the perfect little flip. That, of course Mahomes did this. Any other quarterback did it. It'd be the best play they ever had. My favorite play of Mahomes last night, he was scrambling, and he was caught behind the line. It was going to be a sack. Switches the ball to his left hand and somehow chucks it with a spiral 20 yards downfield to avoid the roughing. That guy is, we are totally taking him for granted at this stage. Is that fair to say?
No, I'm not taking it for granted at all. I think they're going for the undefeated season. I have a very healthy fear
what does that mean?
Of Mahomes.
What do you mean by going for the undefeated season?
This is what I mean by it. I think that when you get out to really big leads, which it appears the Chiefs are going to have in the AFC West. There's not going to be another challenger. I thought the Chargers maybe, but it's not going to happen that way. Obviously, the Raiders are a complete joke, and the Broncos have a rookie quarterback, have a nice record, but I don't think they'll hold a candle to the Chiefs. There's something about playing for keeping our guys healthy at the end of the year, making sure we're, as conservative, stuff like that. If you really were trying to be conservative, last night Patrick Mahomes doesn't go back in that game. You let Carson Wentz, who they said on the broadcast actually does not take any snaps with the first team in practice, but that's fine. You would be conservative, I think, and hold him out of the rest of that game. I think they are going for history with an exclamation point. The three-peat and the undefeated season on top of it. I think they've got all of these lofty goals, probably thinking this could be the last year with Kelsey. It just feels like they're going for the throat here. I know that the margins they're winning by is not a lot, but don't you agree that once you keep Mahomes out of that game yesterday, if you're really just thinking, all right, this is a non-conference game in the early November.
The f*** is that guy?
I think you're the only person in America who thought for half a second that Mahomes wasn't coming back. Once you saw him jogging on the side, that wasn't going to happen. That's just not a thing. There was no way Mahomes wasn't coming back. No, I honestly think they're, in a sense, experimenting in this regular season because they're playing so conservatively that they should have, at home, blown this team out. They were going against a team with Sterling Shepard and I already forgot, Trey Palmer as their starting wide receivers. They started off with a drive where Xavier Worthy somehow found the sideline and took a touchdown. There's no reason the Bucs should be handing in that game on a primetime game in Kansas City in that sea of red. I just think the Chiefs are playing so conservatively. They're like, you can't win every close game. They're like, you know what? We're gonna depend on Mahomes in the fourth quarter. Honestly, I think if they were really putting, as you said, their foot on the throat, like they would start to pass the ball downfield once in a while. They're just playing so incredibly conservatively. You can't. You're going to be in so many close games playing this style. Like you can't win every single score game this way.
Okay, I'm actually surprised because you're really the weather guy around here. I'm surprised that you didn't bring this up. You're looking for explosive plays downfield when the rain is getting worse as the game's going on.
Yeah, but what about the rest of the season? They have nothing.
Listen, I don't care about style points. You win the game that you're in. You know, and that's exactly what, listen, do you want to go to overtime? No, you don't. But to be fair, they just took advantage of a couple Bucs miscues. And Todd Bowles should have definitely gone for 2 and gone for the win. Monday morning quarterback, whatever you want to say, that's the way to get out of there with a win. Not going to overtime. What do you think Kyle Shanahan was thinking sitting wherever he was sitting last night watching that game? Like, good luck to you. You want to go to overtime with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Shanahan,
it's a dark day.
Shanahan's the guy who took the ball first in overtime. He has no idea. He barely understands the rules of overtime. But
well, he still wouldn't have won under the postseason rules or the regular season rules. It wouldn't have mattered because they kicked the field goal in the Super Bowl.
If they go for 2, they would have been up by 1 point with 27 seconds left, and the Chiefs at the 30-yard line. They wouldn't have even needed overtime. The Chiefs definitely would have had a Harrison Butker field goal to win that game.
Yeah, you say that, but they also just punted on the last 2 drives where they went 3 and out.
I don't think it was raining by overtime. Was it?
That's what Laura Rutledge said. It was coming down harder than it had all game. She said the towels were working overtime before overtime.
Yeah, fourth quarter.
But you're such a weather guy, Pearl. I'm surprised you're not factoring the weather into this at all.
No, I mean, I think honestly the Bucs were worried like we're going to have this perfect pass on the 2-point conversion. It'll go right through somebody's hands because Kate Otten had a drop. It was really hard to catch that ball late in the game. So I think that's, and also 27. They definitely. I mean, come on, this is Mahomes, so he would have had no problem. He could have thrown it left-handed and gotten down the field. 30 from the 30 to the other team's 40 with 27 seconds. That's almost too much time. They would have had to run a couple run plays to kill the clock.
To kill the clock.
Come on, man. I guess twice as much and 1 more second and 13 seconds. But I do think. The funny thing was, and the announcers rightfully killed, like, Bulls, don't call a timeout there. If you're at the 1-yard line,
I know.
Don't leave 30 seconds for Patrick Mahomes and then run. I thought the Bucs were going to have like a legal procedure play and somehow blow that 1 yard. They got basically first and goal at the 1 with 33 seconds left, I believe. And it felt a little precarious for the Bucs. I felt like they were holding on for dear life at that point.
Yeah, they definitely were. But to be fair, they got themselves in position. Again, I think you got to go for the win there. And I don't think your fan base is going to turn on you for going for the win. You guys can tell me, if you're in that position. I know that you had just lost, 3 of your last 4. Now you've lost 4 of your last 5. But you have lost already 2 to the Falcons. So the division is pretty much over. It's over. And I don't think the fan base has an uprising here if you go for 2. I think people understand it. They get it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, right? Like the point of the season, you might as well go for it.
Like, what are you worried about the Glazer family? Like, who? The GM? Like, you got analytics people on staff. What do you think they said? Extend the game against the Chiefs? Who would ever think that's a good idea? Again, talk to Kyle Shanahan about that. See how fun it is to go to overtime with the Chiefs. It's a death sentence.
Okay.
Pain.
Pouring rain. What are the odds on that 2-point conversion?
I don't know.
What do you call? You're the coach. If it's so easy, do you call a run play? Are you putting the whole game into a 1 run play?
Listen, you know how much I love Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I guess it just feels like you want in Baker Mayfield's kind of feeling it. That's a hard call there because if you pass the ball, you have a real concern about the wet ball.
But don't you live with the consequences? Like, that's the thing. I'm going process over results here. I'll live with the consequences if my head coach does this. You were an 8.5-point underdog in this game. You're here. You're at the 1-yard line. You score. Go for the 2-pointer.
But if you win the coin toss, you probably win the game.
Do you?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know that you
KC's defense was kind of gassed by the end.
Maybe they were, but then maybe Chris Jones comes up with the play of the play of the game.
Maybe, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I in my heart know the Bucs were not going to convert that 2-point conversion. By the way, a lot of teams had
in your heart. Is that some new math?
Well, what is it?
Analytic? It's Perloff's heart.
Give me the percentage of 2-point conversions this year, because I do not think it's 50%. I've seen a lot of failures on 2-point. This whole thing, we're down a touchdown on the road, go for the 2-point conversion. That has not worked a single time this season.
It hasn't been working a lot, but you just said their defense is gassed. They just were, had to defend a 10-play drive that went 70 yards. Like, maybe you catch them on your heels for a second. I don't know. That's just me. But meanwhile, we were talking about, and you're welcome to weigh in here at 855-212-4227. I think the Chiefs look as good as ever, especially with the additions of Hopkins, obviously Kareem Hunt. These guys are paying dividends. Pacheco's going to be coming back at the end of the month. Perloff, you think they look vulnerable for the regular season, sort of jonesing to lose a game?
Oh, they're built, right? They're building for the postseason right now. The fact that they didn't blow out the Las Vegas Raiders in a revenge game has to tell you something. Like, man, they are following this formula to the end, where we're not going to try and pass the ball downfield and get a big lead. Which I think the only worry about this, Maggie, and I had the same thing for my Eagles. Like, you're going to be in a lot of close games. You're going to wear down Patrick Mahomes. Like, you're definitely going to. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to run in the fourth quarter of all these games. Can you win one easily and give him a little bit of a break?
You jabroni!
It's the NFL. Like, things aren't going to come easily to you, and especially not in a three-peat.
Ankle sprains are definitely coming easy. Like, at a certain point, his health is an issue for sure. And trust me, I saw him on one leg beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But that being said, there's a lot of season left. We have no idea what it's going to look like in December.
So here's Mahomes last night. He tweaks the ankle at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Andy Reid suggested that he come out of the game, had already told Carson Wentz to warm up, and here's Mahomes. He thought Reid was joking.
I thought he was joking. He said it, and I was like, "Come on, like we're not doing this again." He trusts me. And once the doctors checked it out, and I was able to get back and do the drops again, he let me get back on the field.
I mean, we saw this, and that was the AFC Championship game. A much different stakes were a little bit higher with the high ankle sprain against the Bengals, and he talked his way back onto the field.
But I can't believe he was carried off the field like 5 minutes earlier. Why do you think that was a joke? By the way, this year the Bucs are 33% on their 2-point conversions. Last year they were 40% on the whole season.
I love that they go to the Kansas City Chiefs team doctor, and the guy just is it Paul Rudd? Like, who is it on the sideline? That person I feel like has very little power.
That was sweet.
By the way, last year, right now we're seeing a historic drop in success rate on 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
So this year, but prior to this past weekend, it was at 31%, which is like a decades-long low, which is down from 55% last year. So
yeah, it's a real problem.
Yeah, it's bizarre as to why there's been such a substantial drop even just from one season so far.
And it doesn't even, they don't look close, most of them. I mean, there's a lot of sacks on 2-point. How do you take a sack on a 2-point conversion attempt? I saw it 5 times last weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
And the bad teams are even worse, like the Giants, teams like that.
Yeah, why do we think this is?
The only thing I can think of is I think you're
teams
seeing
that are trailing by 2 scores and decide to go for the 2-point conversion to try to make the math work.
I think we're seeing more teams do it. And I think maybe just defenses are a little more prepared for those 2-point plays. The one thing I see almost all the time now is teams just take a timeout. Like you come out and you're set, and then they're just taking a timeout, and they don't let you run your first play. Like, they want to get a look at it, and then you're having to go to a second play, or if you even run that second play, they just look more prepared for the first one.
Also, Nick Sirianni's contributing to this as a single. He's a force in this failure to get the 2-point conversion.
Have you ever
the Trojan horse in the numbers?
Have you ever been on traveled on a really little airplane, like the puddle jumpers and stuff like that? Have you guys ever commuted on one of those before?
Scary.
Yep.
And sometimes they'll have to actually ask people to sit on the opposite aisle
get the
because you
weight
have to
balance.
balance it. This is Nick Sirianni tilting the plane to one side. He's responsible for the plunging success rates of 2-point
dirty yards out there.
I mean, I think every fan thinks the same thing. It's a 2-point conversion. Your quarterback rolls right and has a run-pass option. Like, that's the play that everybody – I think that defenses have figured it out to some extent. And I'm telling you right now, the 2-point conversion, Todd Bowles was not converting a 2-point conversion. You know Todd Bowles. There's no
Baker
way.
Mayfield. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback.
I don't know.
Baker was on a heater on that last.
It would have had to be a real tight window throw with a sopping wet ball. I'm not sure, and they're not going to run it in that situation. You don't go down running. So I think it would have been a tough play.
855-212-4227. Sorry, there was a Penn State joke there that I was going to make, and I'm not going to make it now. Running right into the defense on 3 straight plays.
Oh. Going back to the guy in The Departed who was questioning James Franklin.
I was bringing up old stuff. 855-212-4227.
No. Strong no.
We've got a big return on the horizon as far as the NFL is concerned. Somebody was back at practice. Somebody could be turning the tide for their team. Somebody whose initials are CMC. We get to that next. All right, Perloff. I know.
I had a tough loss last night, but I'm coming back.
But this is the thing that I love about your relationship with Prize Picks. It's one that's built on a foundation of optimism, because Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action while you watch football or the NBA. We've got college basketball in full effect right now. 10 million members, billions of dollars in award and winnings. You can't go wrong. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. The app is so easy to use. Just download it, pick 2 or more players across any sport, then just pick more or less on their projection, and you could win up to 100 times your money.
Yeah, Prize Picks has even invented flex play. So if you could cash out if one of your picks doesn't hit, this is a really interesting time, too, because there are so many sports going on. Some of these guys, there's one XANT3R. Turns out, I don't know what game he plays, but if he has 18.5 maps/headshots, more or less, that's all you do is you pick more or less. It doesn't matter if it's a game or if it's soccer, if it's basketball. This is the most fun time of year. All time of year is fun, but this is crazy with Prize Picks. You download the Prize Picks app today and use the code MNP and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks. You get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
Oh, yo. L-O. Man, he's got a whip full bat swinging with flair. Behind the glass, he's waving it in the air. That bat's bright yellow, could do some harm. If he's not careful, it'll raise the alarm. EJ sitting close, looking a bit tense. He knows one wrong move could be at his expense. Man, he swings wild like he's aiming to score. EJ's ducking low, getting ready to hit the floor. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Bellatti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's in the zone like he's up at the plate. But one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny in his bat to take the stage. While Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Bellatti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's in the zone like he's up at the plate. But one wrong swing and it could seal EJ's fate. The yellow bat's twirling, it's like a storm. EJ's leaning back trying to keep warm. Where's Peter Bellotti? Not a soul knows. He's skipping work as the legend goes, leaving Manny in his bat to take the stage. While Peter's off the grid, who knows what age. Oh man, he put that bat away. Someone's bound to get hurt today. Peter Bellatti's missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Man, he's still swinging, causing a fuss. EJ's just hoping he doesn't get crushed. And Peter Bellotti, as we all know, is a no-show again. What a pro. Put that bat away. Someone's bodies missing again. So much for counting on our old friends. Manny's still swinging, causing a fuss. EJ's just hoping he doesn't get crushed. And Peter Bellotti, as we all know, is a no-show again. What a pro. Oh, yo. L.O.
1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. All right, Maggie, you mentioned Kyle Shanahan was on his couch last night watching the Bucs-Chiefs overtime game, thinking, oh boy, Bucs, this is not going to go well for you.
Todd, don't do it. Go for 2. Do not go to overtime with the Chiefs.
Well,
learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, who knows? Kyle Shanahan find new ways to blow Super Bowls and big games. Sorry. But he does have a new weapon back.
Christian McCaffrey back at practice. 49er fans, rejoice. This is the only thing that can come and save the season. This is it. Ayuk's not coming back. This is the thing. And I don't know if they are going to make another move, Perloff, the 49ers. I mean, their cap situation feels like it's pretty up to the tippity top. I don't know how much flexibility they really have.
That's a myth. I mean, come on. The cap, there's no real cap, Maggie.
Okay. They only spent a whole offseason trying to, negotiate with Ayuk. But anyway, I think that this is the hope. This is it, guys. If you want to repeat, probably, of the Super Bowl and get another shot at Mahomes or just take advantage of an NFC that, quite frankly, kind of looks like the Lions and everyone else, this is the opportunity. A healthy Christian McCaffrey, this tilts the field back in your favor.
I think that's not enough. I think they need to really, really invest in defensive end. And I know Maxx Crosby is not really gettable, and I don't think the Raiders would trade with their former Bay Area partners, and you can't trade for, but they desperately need to reshape this defense because the old scary Niners defense is like a distant memory right now. They need a pass rusher. I know last year they got Chase Young, and maybe they'll get him again this year, but they definitely it's Nick Bosa or bust. Like that defense is not doing it anymore. Like what? And I still don't understand. Like were D'Amico Ryans and Robert Saleh that amazing a defensive coordinator? This used to be. Remember what they used to do to the Cowboys? Like they would terrorize other offenses. They came into the link in that game where Brock Purdy got hurt, and they were all over Jalen Hurts. I know the Eagles won the game easily, but they were an aggressive pass rushing team, and now they're just a normal defense.
Remember when they traded DeForest Buckner because they had like a wealth of pass rushers?
And Eric Armstead too, I think.
Well, the other thing is listen, I can't give you a lot on the defense, although Dre Greenlaw could have a little bit of hope that he's going to be obviously back soon when he got hurt in the Super Bowl. But can I also offer you, I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, not just Juwan Jennings, who is back on the field, but also kicker Jake Moody
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
back on the practice
But that's
field
not,
Monday.
None of that's enough if their defense is not elite, Maggie. Like, it doesn't, even McCaffrey doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, this is.
I disagree with that.
They're not going to offense their way. Like, they've been falling down in the defensive rankings every year. The 2019 was the best defense in the league. Does this look anything like that to you anymore?
It doesn't, but is it enough for them to win the division?
Only
Yes.
God knows.
I think Detroit would put a 40 burger on them in the playoffs.
I'm talking about the division. Is
there's yeah.
I mean, that's
But
the
that's
thing,
not the goal
NFC
here.
West-
Is that what we're doing with the Niners?
I'm going baby steps on this thing because I think that the division is still there to win. Arizona Cardinals are in first place right now. Want to talk about their defense? You have the Rams, who are always one injury away. And then you've got the Seahawks, who seem like they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde, maybe falling apart a little bit. Not really sure what to make of the Seahawks. And their losses, some of them, they just look so bad.
No. We can't do division. This is, if he wins the division and loses in the playoffs, it's a disaster year for Kyle Shanahan. Who cares?
I'm just saying you get back to the top of the division. That's got to be goal number one. And you're telling me you can't do that with offense. And I disagree. I think you can win this division. And then you see what happens, right?
I didn't tell you that. I said they can't win the Super Bowl unless their defense is elite.
They've had elite defenses and didn't win the Super Bowl. So I'm just sorry.
Well, I mean, their defense carried them forever. And now it's like there's just too much on Bosa. It's like it's either he gets to the quarterback or he doesn't. So we'll see. You're right, though. They do have to concentrate on actually making the playoffs. That's a minor detail.
This is you're skipping steps here. And I'm saying for 49er fans, I'd love to know how they feel at 855-212-4227. Season back on now with McCaffrey back at practice.
I'll bet you their odds are crazy high that they get to the playoffs.
I would guess so.
I mean, I don't think that they're worried. I think if you're a Niner fan, you have to set bigger goals. Like, I don't think, I'm sure that maybe this is overconfidence, but I think they have no doubts they're getting the playoffs. The question is what happens there.
Next four for the San Francisco 49ers. You're at the Buccaneers, so a team that just went to overtime with the Kansas City Chiefs. You then have the Seahawks, at the Packers, at the Bills. It's not going to be easy, but McCaffrey will certainly help.
A lot of injuries on that list right there.
Andrew Bogusch
I don't like playing this game.
is here with us. What's up, folks?
Guys, good to see you again. Your headlines this time are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. It certainly looked like Baker Mayfield knew the Bucs made a mistake relying on the overtime coin flip to win at Arrowhead last night, throwing his head back when the Chiefs got the football. The Tampa QB had just done this.
Mayfield under center, down by 7. Snap, spin, fakes the handoff, throws end zone, backpedaling catch in the corner, touchdown! Ryan Miller. An easy throw, a quick 6. And the Buccaneers are an extra point away from tying the game with 27 seconds in regulation.
That's Kevin Harlan on Westwood 1. Tampa did kick and make that tying PAT. Instead of going for 2 and the win, Mayfield called the wrong side of the coin. The Chiefs got the ball and never gave it back. Kareem Hunt, a game-ending 2-yard touchdown run for a 30-24 victory. And now Baker's team has lost 3 in a row.
A lot of resiliency by our guys. Guys up front played well. Everybody was kind of making plays, and a lot of guys that not necessarily had played a lot making plays for us. So, there's a lot of positives to take away from it. But, there's a certain point when you lose 3 in a row, how many positives are you going to take away from it before you really get sick of it?
They are 4-5, 2 games behind the Falcons in the NFC South.
Does anyone know who the heck is Ryan Miller? The guy who came out, is he a combination of Scotty Miller and former tight end Ryan Griffin? I was like, oh, Ryan Miller with the touchdown. Ryan Miller. That sounds like a name I would know. Is he somebody? I don't think he is.
I thought it was Scotty Miller for most of the game.
Oh my God! I thought Scotty Miller was like. I remember Scotty Miller getting deep and beating the DB. He looks a little slower right now.
A little different.
I only know hockey goalie Ryan Miller.
Yeah,
he's
one
from
time
Buffalo.
thinking about. Yeah,
I think he's from there too, isn't he?
But
I might be wrong about that.
He's definitely American.
He's
American. Can
we talk about the fact that Kate Otten is now an NFL star? I mean, he's really good. He's definitely the best player on that offense, right? I mean, maybe Irving, but he's really, really good. They couldn't stop him last night.
It's a dark day.
The Chiefs, meanwhile, they're 8-0 this morning. They've won 14 in a row dating back to last season. 3 touchdown passes from Patrick Mahomes, 2 of them to DeAndre Hopkins. Mahomes did twist his left ankle early fourth quarter, limped off the field, but did not miss a snap, and expects to be just fine. Panthers head coach Dave Canales said yesterday he is still deciding between Bryce Young and Andy Dalton as a starting QB for this weekend, and the NFL did us all a solid yesterday, taking Jets-Colts off Sunday Night Football in Week 11. Bengals-Chargers gets prime time instead.
Yeah. Slow clap for the league on that one. Thank you.
Good
job out of you, Goodell.
You guys watch the Chargers play? That's a tough watch.
Don't
watch
be
the
a
Jets
freaking
play.
weirdo.
Yeah,
Can't be
I
worse
don't
than
know.
the
I don't
Jets.
feel like Bengals Chargers. That feels like an afternoon game.
Joe
to
Burrow
me.
just threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's exciting. I don't know the
To be
Chargers.
honest, the Jets part of this is not why I'm glad that they flexed it out. I don't want to watch
think
the
he's a
Colts.
Well, by the way, are you talking Anthony Richardson or are you talking Joe Flacco?
We don't know.
I don't care. Pass. Just pass. Richardson, 48-year-old Peyton Manning they could bring back. I'm just no Colts.
Okay, now I'd watch that if Peyton played.
Might be interesting. He could do the Manning cast and do the game.
That's funny. I thought we all were kind of into the Colts a little bit. Like they're like a little scrappy Colt. I don't know.
I was into them before the season started. Then they played games. Now I'm out.
I don't know. They got Jonathan Taylor sometimes. He once in a while shows up. Anthony Richardson's interesting. Okay, I didn't know the Colts were on the boring heap.
Nah, I'm out.
Yeah, no thanks.
I mean, they're not the Titans, are they?
No, it's a no for me, dog.
I mean, are they? Are they? Aren't they? What's
You
the
know,
difference?
if you watch a Colts game with Anthony Richardson, you are getting a close, weird ending. That's
Well, they might as well go back to him. They went to Flacco to make the playoffs. See, now we're talking about the Colts. This is exactly what I was hoping to avoid. And the league was also hoping that we would avoid talking about the Colts as well because they flexed them out of primetime. But
gosh, I am sitting here. I'm not going to take this Colts slander.
how many more Joe Flacco games do you need to see?
Well, how many more Anthony Richardson benchings do you need? You like him more than Shane
But
Steichen
you guys
right
were
now.
all thrilled when Joe Flacco was taken over 2 weeks ago, and now because he has one bad game, we're off the Flacco bandwagon.
I don't know. I'm
I
digging
don't
back into
think
the
he should be playing.
digging back into the numbers with the Browns. Looks like the defense was really doing a lot of the work there.
But are you also preaching commitment now? You wanted us to stay on the Flacco bandwagon?
I don't know. I just feel like I think it's unfair to put the Colts in the sort of Titans, Raiders, 4 o'clock window kind of boring team you can barely watch. I feel like they're a little more.
Who's the dynamic receiver you love watching on the Colts? Our pal Michael Pittman.
Alec Pierce is great.
Got llamas.
Pittman's pretty good. Josh Downs looks like a star. I like a lot of the Colts players. It's weird.
I mean, they just played on Sunday Night Football, and it was unwatchable.
That was a horrible game. I don't know what happened. But the Vikings,
Thank you.
the Vikings also sort of take teams out of it too.
So do the Jets.
Right.
That's true.
Honestly, give me all the Jets you want. At least the Jets, like they're going to do something either good or wildly embarrassing. The Colts.
I'll speak for the rest of
that's a big
America.
llama.
We don't want no more New York teams. Just keep the New York teams off. I'm hoping they could flex Thanksgiving. The fact that we
But
got
who
to watch
plays
the Giants.
Thanksgiving?
Giants, Cowboys. Like,
Oh,
again.
my God! How about this Giants-Panther Germany game?
Combined 4-14 record, and Dave Canales is playing mind games, not announcing a quarterback. What are we doing here, man?
Well, normally I get stressed out to watch that early morning Sunday game. I mean, unless New York Daily News is hiring me to write a story on that game, I will watch 0 snaps, and especially if Andy Dalton's not starting, then that is literally the worst matchup in the history of European games.
Honestly, we got a big thing happening later today. I worry about the diplomacy and our standing around the world with Giants.
Clearly
Panthers.
we don't like Germany because we sent the Colts and the freaking Patriots there last year.
It's like a football tariff.
We
Here's
send the
Giants,
worst-
Panthers. Deal with
We
it.
send the worst teams to that country for some reason.
No, we gave them the Chiefs one time. I think.
That one time when Tua made the worst throw in the history of the NFL, and they were like, "This guy is supposed to be an accurate quarterback."
I'm never really happy.
It was
They're
supposed
probably
to.
so drunk it doesn't matter. I mean,
Fair.
all that beer.
Fair.
And by the way, we're ones to talk.
Germany
Also
knows
fair.
it's football. That is,
Oh, they know football, all right.
yeah. I mean, I used to be a big Ryan Fire fan back in the
You
day.
would be.
Those were really good
Then
crowds.
jumped off the
Typical.
bandwagon for the Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Flames?
No, listen.
Name
I
another
first,
city in Germany.
Barcelona was my team, and then the Rain Fire got. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I do remember I really liked Rohan Davey, the former LSU quarterback, was killing it in Europe back in the day.
I thought we were talking about German football. I thought we were going to talk about Bayern Munich
Oh, yeah.
and
No.
Dortmund.
But it is true. Germany.
Wouldn't that be great on your tombstone? Like I was killing it in Europe.
Yeah, Germany loves football because there were so many American servicemen over there. That is really that's where they should go. That more than England, even I think.
I think they're looking at it.
Not
now
they keep
they're
sending the
looking
Colts
everywhere.
and Giants and those terrible teams. Whoever they're playing, the Panthers.
We'll stick with soccer. Thanks, guys.
I think the NFL series, they don't know any better, right? Like,
I think they do.
if two soccer teams were here, we wouldn't know if they were.
Oh, yes, we would.
Well, you would know on reputation, but if the teams were down, the quality of play is still whatever, right? Or you would know.
Well, I mean, you would know. Now, when they do come in the summer, it's like spring training for them, so they don't always see the top tier guys, or at least all of them. It's not like it's not a regular season game, so you're not getting.
Well, that's
their
what Germany's
full
getting
effort.
this week.
Yeah, this game barely counts. Well, actually, for draft positioning, this is pretty big. Do you think the German crowd understands that? Do they think they know Mel Kiper? Do you translate Kuiper into German?
Let's discuss relegation while we're there.
But I say they don't even understand tanking because they have relegation.
Yeah,
they don't.
Right.
They don't even understand the idea of losing on purpose to get better players.
I want German Mel Kiper. It's like, Guten Tag. I can't even do a Kuiper.
Oh, God.
We need to call back that guy, the guy in Maryland. Remember we had that caller who sounded like Mel Kiper?
Oh, yes,
But
we
also would not stop talking. Which is honestly kind of like Mel Kiper.
Love the guy. Guten Tag. Love him. 2.45 speed. I can't do Kuiper.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Perloff.
That was worse than one of my impressions.
Nothing will be worse than your. Who's your
I'd
golfer?
name anybody.
Yes. Who's the golfer
Cam
you do?
Smith.
Cam Smith.
Sometimes my accent gets confused. British accents. That actually sounds a little Indian. Now I'm all over the place.
Whoa.
Based on EJ's English accent, this is not for the international audience.
I
This
seem
show.
to have totally lost the Australian accent. I had it for a minute, and now I'm going between American and English.
You just offended half of the Western Hemisphere.
What are you talking about? We have to a boot. I can
Sorry, and now we're back to the Eastern Hemisphere.
I can do Canada.
No, What are you you talking can't.
I'm
We have to go to
sorry.
camp?
I'm sorry. I can do Canada, Maggie. Canada? That's like they say three words differently. Sounds nice.
And you can't do any of them.
Back. I can do Chris Berman.
Nope.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Maggie and Perloff show. This is Boomer. Daniel Jones and Bryce Young on the Rhine.
Is he a bookie? I don't understand what his voice is.
Andy, just relax.
You have a Tommy gun over there? What's happening?
By the way, yes, your Berman is the same as your Sandler.
Wait.
That can't be.
You guys,
And your gangster.
Everybody
They're all
can do
the
a
same.
Berman. Let's see your Berman.
No, I don't do impersonations. Well, okay, I wouldn't do that.
That is actually dead accurate. If I do that to a sports fan, they know I'm doing Chris Berman. At least give me that.
Well, if you did back, they would get it in whatever voice you did it in. But they wouldn't think you're doing Berman's voice.
That Andrew, I think you have to lower your bar, Bogus, for my accuracy here. I think Berman is dead on. He's Berman.
The pity Maggie's looking at you with right now is remarkable.
So I attempted German Mel Kiper, and I'm the jerk. Meanwhile, you've been globetrotting.
What is that noise?
That's Chris Berman. That's every single highlight, every single video he's ever had. Andrew Bogus.
He's not Jabba the Hutt. I don't.
You never notice. Wait, have you ever seen SportsCenter? This is Chris Berman.
I don't remember Chris Berman doing that noise.
Then I don't know if you've ever even heard of Chris Berman. Yeah, thank you.
That's pretty good. It's better than Perloff's.
It's
week 7.
Yeah, circle the wagons.
Tough.
No. Honestly, all my other impressions are bad, but everybody can do a Chris Berman because that's exactly what he sounds like. I'm sorry. I'm not going to relent on this.
Guten Tag.
Yeah.
Scary Maggie's back. It's like a threat. Guten Tag.
So that was supposed to be Mel Kiper doing German.
No, yes. Yes, and there's my Berman.
Oh, now I get it.
Yeah, here we go.
I might as well be Frank Caliendo on my Berman.
Man, I felt like he was in the room with Berman. Leather.
Sports. It was supposed to be the game of opening night in men's college basketball, but number 6, Gonzaga, hammered 8th-ranked Baylor in Spokane, 101-63. That's the Zags' largest margin of victory ever over a top 10 opponent. Women's number 1, South Carolina, sidestepping unranked Michigan, just 68-62 in Vegas. Steph Curry was back for the Warriors last night, 24 points in a 125-112 win in Washington after missing 3 with a bad left ankle.
My ankle feels fine. It's just you don't want to be in a position where you get fatigued and put yourself in jeopardy. So this is a good stepping stone.
Paul George and his bad left knee made their season and Sixers debut last night in Phoenix. He scored 15 points in 32 minutes, but those Suns won 118-116 on a Kevin Durant hoop with 24 seconds left.
Did George push anyone after the game? What's going on? Any drama?
I think they got out unscathed. Yeah, I think they behaved themselves. Nikola Jokic, 28 points, 14 boards, 14 assists, and the Nuggets 121-119 home win over the Raptors. The Rockets held off the Knicks somehow, 109-97, and the Jazz got their first win of the season, 135-126 in Chicago. And Garrett Cole is staying with the Yankees after all. He has basically unopted out of his 4-year, $144 million deal. Extension talks between the club and their ace will continue. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, lots more to do on this very, very busy Tuesday. It is the NFL trade deadline. Perloff and I have trades that gotta happen before the deadline. Say, was it 4 p.m. Eastern?
I think so, yeah.
It's trade deadline day.
Sounds like Perloff just died.
Are you on the toilet? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's what Berman sounds like. I just sent you Frank Caliendo doing Berman, and it's pretty much all noises.
None of which you've made in this segment.
EJ, that visual was just wrong. Just wrong. People are trying to get their day going. It's a tense day around here.
Who does number 2 work for?
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
It's trade deadline day. Get your fiber.
Goodness.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Maggie and Perloff show. This is Boomer.
Sounds like our mimities.
Back.
All right, let's go to break. We're back with trades we want to see next.
Hello, Maggie.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Aussie, but you can never tell. Tries to talk like he's from down under, but his accent's Andrew Perloff's got a tale to tell. Thinks he's an Aussie, but you can never tell. Tries to talk like he's from down under, but his accent's thunder. Oh, what a wonder. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. Crikey, he says, but it sounds all wrong. Mixes kangaroos with a New York song. Crocodile Dundee would have a laugh if he heard our Andrew with his strange mishmash. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. Foster's in his hand, trying to fit in, but his mates back home just chuckle and grin. He should be slinging steaks, not slinging slang. In the kitchen's where he can really hang. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. So here's to Perloff, I wanna be Aussie. Andrew Who made you belong at the Outback? Not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G-Night. At the Outback Steakhouse, you'd be just right. So here's to Perloff, I wanna be Aussie. So here's to Perloff, I wanna be Aussie. Andrew Perloff's got a tale to tell. Thinks he's an Aussie, but you can never tell. Tries to talk like he's from down under, but his accent's thunder. Oh, what a wonder. Andrew made you belong at the Outback. Not living in the bush, but serving.
Pine Needles wakes up at dawn. Coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, Maggie Gray on the radio waves, talking sports and scores and the games we crave. But when she's done with touchdowns and three-point shots, she dives into conspiracies and connects the dots. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? JFK wasn't just a simple case. I got the scoop right here on my plate. She's got a playbook full of suspects, from mob bosses to alien insects. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make his day plot. Maybe it's something that we all forgot. She breaks it down like a post. Maggie woke up, felt a change in the air. Reached for his razor, didn't have a care. He shaved it off, that iconic mustache. Now he's just a face, lost in the mass. How many ways did you go? Without your mustache, we just don't. Bring back the charm, the style, the flair. Grow it back, Manny. Show us you can.
Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We've gotten all of our Chris Berman impressions out of our system now, I think.
Okay.
Let's go to Rich, who's in California, wants to talk about Christian McCaffrey returning to practice. How are the 49er faithful feeling now, Rich?
I don't know, but I think maybe a little curbing of the enthusiasm might be in order, because number one, you're talking about 30-year-old cranky Achilles tendons. They don't tend to get better without surgery. The other thing that would concern me would be also Trey Greenlaw. He needs to be back to make the defense a whole lot better. So I'm hoping that the 49ers aren't going to use McCaffrey like they used him during the Super Bowl run, because he's going to be the target of every defensive coordinator that they play.
Yeah,
but don't they have some help for him, Rich? Like with Garendo looking good and obviously Jordan Mason. Like, can't they use him as a part-time player in a sense compared to like what he usually is, which is 80% of the offense?
Well, that's exactly the point. Do you really want to? Are you really trusting a Super Bowl run to guys like Garendo, who's okay, and the other runner's name escapes me right now.
Patrick Taylor, Jordan Mason.
Yeah, Jordan Mason. Again, they're number 2 and number 3 for a reason.
Yeah, but in a Shanahan offense, Rich, I feel like, they've had this before where guys can come out of nowhere in the run game and really hold the fort for you. And again, you're right. You need McCaffrey for the stretch run here. But I just look around at the rest of the NFC, and thank you for the call. And yeah, the Packers and the Detroit Lions, Perloff, they look good, but Jordan Love is definitely hurt. He's definitely playing through an injury. Who else in the NFC is really scaring you? Are you your Philadelphia Eagles? Even you don't believe in. The Commanders have a rookie quarterback, so it's virtually impossible. It's never happened before that a rookie quarterback's gone to the Super Bowl. I mean, the rest of the NFC is kind of breaking right for the 49ers to make a run.
I mean, not as much as last year. I think it's a harder road than last year because Detroit's a better team, even without Hutchinson. Maybe that. And also, too, I think the Packers are coming back. I mean, this was a disaster for the Packers on Sunday, right? It was raining. They still doubled in yardage, the Lions. And this was a hurt Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are counting that team out. I think, remember, there's a whole half a season left. We don't know anything yet. There's going to be a completely different group of players by the time we get to mid-January.
I think that bodes well for the 49ers. You're getting Christian McCaffrey back. Jawan Jennings is getting healthy. Jake Moody, your kicker, is getting healthy. Dre Greenlaw is getting healthier. This is... When you're talking about the second half of the season, that's a good thing for the 49ers. This bodes well for them. Who wants to be peaking right now? Peaking in November does nothing for you.
Right. No, I think the Niners are in fine shape, but I don't think it's because the NFC is weak. Or the NFC... I think the NFC is a little better than last year. Last year, the Cowboys and the Eagles were coming out of the NFC. So they were terrible in the playoffs. The Packers were a year away. So it was really their only big competition was the Lions last year. Now, even with the Hutchinson injury, it feels like you have a sort of superpower on your block with the Lions. It feels like a much harder path. Last year, we knew the Niners were the dominant team. I feel like I still think they're going to sneak in the playoffs. By the way, one thing, Isaac Guerrero, am I missing something here? That guy looks like he's going to be an NFL star. He was a 4th-round pick, which is pretty high for a running back, ran a 4.33. I agree with you. This is a Kyle Shanahan offense. I don't care who's a running back. They are going to come at you downhill. I'm the only one here. I'm worried about the defense. I think they're just blah.
Today is trade deadline day. You're welcome to call in about the 49ers, 855-212-4227.
Oh, yeah.
Perloff and I have 2 trades each that we want to see get done before the deadline today. I know you've been working on this tirelessly.
I mean, I have a lot. Actually, I have more, but these are all I'm in fantasy football mode. There's a little problem with some of them. It's called the NFL salary cap.
You already told me that's a figment of our imagination.
Yeah, but it seems like teams love talented players. Teams hate expensive players. That is the lesson. So that's the sort of balance here. We all look at a team like the 49ers. Obviously, they need pass rush help. But do they take on a Hassan Reddick contract? What do you do as a cap manager and how much you sell out for now when your cap is going to get all messed up next year? That's the big debate around the league. But I think we're going to see some action.
Actually, John Lynch said the phones have been crazy ringing off the hook because you have a lot of teams that have 2 wins. We have 9 teams in the NFL with 2 wins. So you would think, even with 17-week season, teams have got to be thinking about the long term. If you got 2 wins right now, I mean, you got to be thinking about how are we just going to make the team better for next year. So give me your first trade.
Okay. I'll go very, very unlikely, but should happen. I think the Dolphins should trade Tyreek Hill for a haul. If Devontae... Okay, San Francisco would be obviously the natural fit. They desperately need a wide receiver because Ayuk is out. Debo is on and off the field. Ricky Pearsall doesn't look like he's going to be explosive this year. So they need a weapon, and he'd be perfect because he could do all the little things. So if you had Tyreek Hill, you wouldn't have to worry about McCaffrey's health. Now, the question is the Dolphins. The Dolphins should give up. What are you doing here? You're 2-6. And your quarterback is on this big deal that he's never going to stay healthy for. What are you playing for? You're playing for next year? Hill's going to be 31. Jalen Ramsey's going to be 32. I don't know who. Everybody's hurt on the defense. Teron Armstead's going to retire after this year, apparently. He's 33. No one's going to be there next year. I don't know what you're doing here. What are you building for? So you might as well start that rebuild and get a first-round pick for Tyreek Hill, in my opinion. And I think a lot of Dolphin fans are with me. I think they've given up on this team.
Do you really think you're getting a first-round pick for Hill still?
I still think I think you might. I think he's just way different than DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's way different than Devontae Adams. Definitely different than Amari Cooper. Those guys are just most of them are a slight bit older than Hill, and they're just Tyreek Hill's speed is stuck with him. Those guys, even DeAndre Hopkins, as awesome as he was last night, dude's slow. So I think that Hill is a difference maker. Yeah, I think you could get a first-round pick for him. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're committed to this Tua thing, but I don't know why.
Man, this would be bizarre. They never do stuff like this. But what about Tyreek Hill going to the Packers? We were just talking about the Packers needing a number one, a true number one. It could end up being Reed, but it's not maybe him this year. Maybe he'll turn into that. I was thinking maybe the Packers could use him, but I just don't see the Green Bay Packers making a move like that.
Nope, you're right.
They don't draft wide receivers in the first round, let alone trading a first-round pick for a 30-plus-year-old receiver.
Well, I mean, listen, the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill because they thought he wasn't worth the money, and they won 2 Super Bowls. The Packers traded Devontae Adams because they thought he wasn't worth the money, and they continue to win. So I think certain teams think we're not paying up a wide receiver.
Who?
For me, the trade I want to see is we're talking about the Lions. I don't know if they necessarily even need a pass rusher to, fill in for Aiden Hutchinson, but this is kind of a twofold thing. I kind of want to see Cam Jordan be on a winner.
Yeah.
He's been a great player. He is a Hall of Fame player. He's on the Saints. The Saints are going nowhere. And wouldn't that be a cool story? I don't know how people in New Orleans would feel about it, but the guy has been a good ambassador for your team. Go to the Detroit Lions and try to win a Super Bowl in what might be your last year in the league.
I'm a little torn on this one because I'm a Cam Jordan super fan, like everybody in the media is, because he's the coolest guy on Super Bowl row every year. I do want to see him retire as a Saint, though. I do. I agree with you.
He will.
I know. He's a Saint for life, and you're right. He deserves a chance to win at the highest level, but it is a little weird for him to leave now. And that being said, he'd be great. He'd be a great fit there. He's still a great player. All right. Bye. We're running out of time because I have another Saint that I desperately want to trade.
All right.
Desperately.
Hold on to it.
Oh, I want this player to go to a new team so badly.
Get to that next. 855-212-4227. How did it all go down in Kansas City last night? We've got the details for you and an update on Patrick Mahomes' ankle. Maggie Perloff.
Manny woke up, felt a change in the air. Reached for his razor, didn't have a care. He shaved it off, that iconic mustache. Now he's just a face, lost in the mass. So Manny, where did you go? Without your mustache, we just don't know. Bring back the charm, the style, the flair. Grow it back, Manny, show us you care. Walked through the town, no one said hi. Strangers glanced by, couldn't recognize his upper lip bare, a shocking new sight. The mustache gone, it just isn't right. Oh Manny, where did you go? Without your mustache, we just don't know. Bring back the charm, the style, the flair. Grow it back, man, show us you care. The mirror whispers, this isn't you. The mustache magic, it's what we knew. Friends and neighbors, they all agree. Bring back the mustache, set Manny free.
it's the Tom Clevion brain. Old blood is brain, it's on the train. Running through the strategies and games. Peter loves it more.
Peter Bellotti loves Wendy's bacon treats.
Season headlined
He
by
dances
DeAndre
with joy
Hopkins and
every
Kareem
time
Hunt, who
he
combined for
eats.
3
Crispy
touchdowns last
strips of
night.
happiness, that's no lie. Peters and bacon, heaven reaching for the sky. Wendy's bacon makes Peter so glad. One bite, he's the happiest lad. Crispy, crunchy, bacon delight. Peter's in bliss, morning, noon, and night. He orders a stack.
You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff show. Sit back, relax, we've got a break to go. In just 5 minutes, we'll be back on air. So take a breath, we'll soon be there. 5 minutes, count it down. Maggie and Perloff, the best show in town. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. Whoa! You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff.
Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Handoff, Kareem Hunt, right side, powering. He is. Give it to him. Touchdown! Kansas City. It's a walk-off touchdown by Kareem Hunt, and the Kansas City Chiefs stay undefeated at 8-0.
Who could have seen that coming? Mitch Holtis on Chiefs radio. The Chiefs win the overtime coin toss, and what do? Perloff, they march down the field, they score because of the Chiefs.
I was going to say, is that a new clip, or I feel like I've heard that clip many times before?
Yeah, and you know what? To me, the Chiefs look as dangerous as ever because last night was not ideal. You got the weather conditions, which are disgusting. You had a Bucs team that, yes, is wounded, but also desperate. They're coming off of a loss to the Falcons, which means they are not winning the division. So that means every single win for them, they cannot afford to mail one in. You had Baker Mayfield, who goes back to college battling Patrick Mahomes, clearly had a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and that's when you get the absolute best Baker Mayfield. And to be honest, I think Todd Bowles, the head coach of the Bucs, did not do his team any favors by kicking an extra point and even going to overtime with the Chiefs. You got to go for the 2-point conversion there. Go for the win. And be aggressive. There's no way your fan base, general managers, owners, they're not going to be upset if you make that call because ultimately, what do you want? To extend the game with the Kansas City Chiefs, or do you want to end the game with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Or end the game with a loss to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, they were anyway. I'm telling you, you extend the game against the Chiefs, the odds are you're going to lose.
It almost felt like, I felt like the Bucs were going to score if they got the ball first. I honestly thought Baker Mayfield's reaction to losing the coin toss when he should have called heads, that's on Baker, I think he was going to score because I think the Chiefs defense looked a little tired toward the end. And maybe the Chiefs defense was going in a little bit of a prevent mode. But anyway, here's the thing about the Chiefs. 8-0, right?
Yep.
It's a thin 8-0, Maggie. You have to admit. They're 8th in the league in point differential. That has to mean something. You can't tell me that all of a sudden this year point differential doesn't mean anything. And the Chiefs are going to continue for the second half of the season. They're actually not even at their own halfway point. They're going to be able to do this when every one-score game because at a certain point, you're going to lose that coin toss. At a certain point, fate is going to turn the other way, and you're going to lose some game that you shouldn't. You're going to mess around like you did last year and lose 17-10 to the Raiders. Something like that is going to happen to this team. I don't know that it matters because they'll be amazing in the playoffs, but I do not see a juggernaut by any means. I see a team that is chipping down the field and praying they don't have a turnover on these 14-play drives.
I don't see this the way you do at all. I don't see a team that's getting lucky. I don't see a team
They literally got luck on their side last night. They won the coin toss.
They won the coin toss. Okay, but again, you're not sure that the Bucs are going to go down and score there.
Well, you're so sure they would have hit the 2-point conversion.
I like those odds better.
I like the odds of them. I didn't like those odds.
But here's the thing.
I thought the Bucs would have blown that 2-point conversion.
I understand that maybe winning one-score games kind of feels not sustainable, but they've already got wins over some of the biggest challengers on their schedule. Ravens, Bengals, at the Chargers, at the 49ers. Like, they're doing it. And to me, it's not about style points in the NFL. It's not college. There's no committee that you have to impress. This isn't, having to take on Northwest East South University, so you have to beat them 63-3. Like, it doesn't, the fact that they're winning these games and the fact they're doing it in a way where they're not satisfied. And I appreciate that about the Chiefs, because they're the dynasty right now and they have all this injury stuff. And you could understand if they were like, really not our year. They've added 5 players to the roster since the beginning of the season. And 2 of them paid massive dividends last night, which was Kareem Hunt, who scored the game winner that you just heard, and DeAndre Hopkins, who had 2 touchdowns. Like, they're only going to get better. And by the way, Pacheco's coming back from that broken leg.
Yeah. Okay. So they're 8-0 right now. And I think their main competition for the 1 seed, because the Ravens are somehow playing down their competition a lot. I'm not sure why. I think it's going to be your Buffalo Bills. I think that's going to be because the AFC East is so broken. And obviously, but I'm not sure that 1 seed in home field means what it used to be.
Oh, I think it means more.
But I didn't think the Kansas City looked that great at home last night. I think, I don't know what it is. Last year, the Chiefs obviously won on the road in the playoffs. I'm not sure that it makes a huge difference. Maybe
I think
wrong.
you want that bye week. This is not
the
like
bye week
baseball.
is big, but last year they didn't need it.
I know, because of the Chiefs, so this is why they deserve the benefit of the doubt. This is why they're scary. And this is why Patrick Mahomes, who banged up his ankle last night at the beginning of the 4th quarter, and if they really were mailing in the season or say, we're going to lose a game, like this one doesn't really matter, it's against an NFC team, he doesn't come back in the game. And instead he did.
That was never happening. That was never, ever happening. He was going back in that game. Even when he was getting carried off, I'm like, an ankle injury? Patrick Mahomes? We've seen this movie before.
Yeah, but it's not the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. Let's hear a little from Andy Reid. Some jokes, because I guess you can joke today about how tough Patrick Mahomes is that he never came out of the game.
He might have the loosest ankles in America. It's ridiculous how he can come back from those things. And then he's mentally tough.
And Reid on trusting Mahomes and Hopkins on that 35-yard, one of the touchdowns. One of the big catches for DeAndre Hopkins, the trust he has in his QB.
He's got a lot of trust in him. And you've seen DeAndre make those catches over his career. You get 2 great players thrown to each other. Sometimes great things happen. And so it's not the way we drew it up, but it was a good finish to it.
You're not nervous about this? Like, you're not nervous that the Chiefs are going to find another gear? We talk about how much season is left to play. They're just working this guy into the offense, and he had 8 catches for 86 yards last night and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. No, first of all, I'm not nervous because I root for an NFC team. So I'd be
convenient.
I'd be honored to lose to the Chiefs again. But that being said, I just feel like I watched them 2 weeks ago. I mean, like, whoa, the Raiders are hanging in. The ghosts of the Raiders are hanging in. There's no nervous or not nervous. They are going to make all these games really close. I think it's interesting that we used to have one of the most dynamic offenses in the league. And now I said to you in the break, like, how many 3-yard shuttle passes Travis Kelce can one team string together? I mean, they only averaged 4.6 yards per play yesterday. That is unbelievably down for them. It's just, I love it. Like, all of a sudden they're the 85 Bears. What is going on here?
Well, until somebody can stop it, I don't see why they would change. And to be honest, I thought one of the worst things they did was running that trick play that they didn't need to run.
Yeah.
That was early in the game.
But why don't they
it
throw
stalled
down
the drive?
Why? I know why, but they're just not throwing to the intermediate downfield much. They're just not throwing much, which is cool. I guess it's fun to run like that. I do think that they're saving some stuff. I think there's going to be some plays we're not going to see all regular season. Then they're going to be like, oh, okay, now all of a sudden Travis Kelce is 18 yards downfield and catching all these passes. I just feel like they are using this season to work out some stuff.
You know, it's funny because I kind of get Pro's point in terms of like why I don't think they go undefeated because they're playing these close games. But the thing that would make me feel the opposite in terms of just like anybody having a chance to beat the Chiefs is they don't get blown out. They don't get 17-point deficits. They don't get in a situation where they got to throw the ball 50 times. It's funny. Kenny Smith used to make an analogy about the San Antonio Spurs where he'd say like the problem with the Spurs is they always play at an 8. And if you don't play at a 10, you're going to lose. And that's kind of how I feel with the Kansas City Chiefs, is that even if they don't always play at a 10, they're always playing at an 8. They're always going to play solid. Their defense is always going to play really well. And the game's always going to be close. And guess what? If they're always in a close game, who are you taking your odds on? Patrick Mahomes or whoever's on the other side.
Right.
It's always going to be Patrick Mahomes.
But
that's why I have so much doubt about the Chiefs finding a way to not get back to the Super Bowl. Because I'm like, they're never going to be in a game where they're in a real precarious situation. They're always going to be in it. And if they're in it, Mahomes is taking them home.
I don't know. I have trouble in my head, and this is, again, they'll probably prove me wrong, seeing them hang with Detroit and Baltimore's offense. I mean, that's why I looked at the Super Bowl odds. It's really close now, closer than usual, because like Detroit's going to run all over them, and I don't know that
they already beat the Ravens.
Yeah, no, Detroit. I'd say Detroit's going to run all over them, but that was the early season Ravens. The Ravens look like a different team right now offensively. They look like they figured out some things. I just wonder is Kansas City have enough offense to beat those teams? And I think the Ravens are going to be bent on revenge in the playoffs. I think that's going to be a toss-up game.
But
there's a lot of teams that are hell-bent on revenge on the Chiefs, and they're not getting it. And that's the other part, too, where I don't mind them going on these long drives. I know you're worried because it can lend itself to more mistakes.
Feels like they're always very close to fumbles and stuff.
But think about it. When you're in a game with the Ravens, if you're in a game with the Detroit Lions, what would be like the keys to the game or something? It'd be like limit the Detroit possessions.
No, I know.
Limit Lamar and Derrick Henry on the field.
I know, and maybe I'm being naive. I just see what Detroit's doing on a weekly basis, and I see now what Baltimore's doing. I know they lost to Cleveland, and I'm like, whoa, like Baltimore's going to run Lamar on one lane and Derrick Henry in the other lane, and then they're going to hit Zay Flowers, who's unstoppable, and then Rashad Bateman goes, like the Chiefs is nothing. Like, oh, the Chiefs are going to have a left-handed 8-yard pass to get their 19th straight third down. Like, it just feels very conservative.
Don't you think, though, there's something where and listen, sometimes the Chiefs make it overcomplicated. They do the trick plays and stuff like that, as I said. But if you can't stop it, why would they stop running it? You know?
Well, because they're risking getting the game really close at the end. Like they kind of let the Bucs hang around last night.
They totally did. But again, this is a Bucs team that's desperate. This is a bad weather game, which it turned into. I don't think that's the point where you're like, all right, we really got to put something flashy out here. You're just trying to win the game.
Yeah, I know, but they clearly like risk the game in a way they probably didn't want. I'm sure Andy Reid wasn't thrilled with the fact that they went to overtime with a Bucs team with no receivers. Like that's not part of the plan. They expected to win this game in regulation.
Can we hear Andy Reid, Manny, about whether he was surprised to see Todd Bowles not go for 2 at the end of the game? This is one of the big game management portions of last night's contest.
No, but I'm glad he didn't.
Glad he didn't. Right there. Andy Reid knows you want to extend the game with us. We will gladly extend the game because we got Patrick Mahomes and you don't.
Yeah, I know. By the way, Andy Reid also threw the ball on third down and it was incomplete. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Andy Reid is not the world's greatest game manager.
Why didn't they make the Bucs burn all their timeouts?
Andy Reid, I don't care how many rings you put on him. You do not know what that guy's going to call late in the game. Anyway, yeah, it's a really interesting experiment with me for the Chiefs this year. Can they just become this bruising team? Their defense worried me just a little bit last night. Sometimes they look like they're just like an unstoppable force. That second half, maybe they went into prevent mode, but it felt like the Bucs had their number. Those long drives really helped keep the Bucs off the field. That was huge. I agree with you. Maybe that's why, but I felt like except for Chris Jones, is anyone, maybe Karlaftis a little, terrify you on that Chiefs defense right now? There's a lot of pressure. Like, you think it's a lot of pressure to win every game by 7 points.
855-212-4227. Okay. We got some breaking news. Let's do it.
Do we have a breaking news sounder?
I don't know. Manny, play anything. Manny's choice.
Okay,
This
actually,
is
just
artist
no.
choice.
Manny, I want you to do it yourself. Make up like a.
But do.
Yeah.
Good enough. The Cleveland Browns are trading Zadarius Smith to the Detroit Lions.
All right.
This is to make up for the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. You saw giddy Dan Campbell last week, and then no trade came. This one is one everyone was pointing to, and now it happens. Zadarius Smith of the Browns, who are going nowhere this year, they trade Smith to the Lions. It's a 2026 seventh rounder.
Oh, okay, I was going to guess. I was going to guess what round it was. Okay, so it's nothing.
It's a seventh rounder. Smith and a seventh rounder to Detroit for
Fifth
a
rounder.
2025 fifth rounder and a 2026 sixth rounder. Is that like, did you nail it?
No. I was going to say, I'll bet you it was a fifth rounder for Zadarius Smith. Very minor thing. But I didn't realize he was 32. So there's not a lot of value there. That means that there's no big name coming there, right? So no Maxx Crosby, probably no Hassan Reddick.
I don't understand the Reddick thing. They just worked this out with the Jets. Now they're just going to flip him again? And for a guy who has been that much of a pain in the neck, I couldn't see it. I think the Jets are kind of stuck with him this year, right?
Did you see the Mike Tannenbaum of ESPN, former GM, his trade rumor that the Browns should trade Myles Garrett to the Lions for 3 first-round picks?
I did see that.
Now, that would have been cool. Like, if it was real fantasy football, can you imagine Myles Garrett on the Lions? Then the Chiefs would no longer be Super Bowl favorites. But Zadarius Smith helps. I think this is kind of a minor move. What's your read on this? Has it changed the landscape of the NFC?
I think the Lions were already good. I mean, they just beat the Packers in Lambeau with no Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, Packers move the ball a lot, though.
Zadarius Smith, 5 sacks on the season.
Oh, that's pretty good.
10 years in the league. I mean, yeah, he's definitely going to make a play for them. I have no doubt about that. So good job out of the Lions. Listen, this is the window, and I think this is actually smart. We talk about the NFC. You're looking at the 49ers, a team that's been really snake-bitten this year. Cowboys are down. Packers you just beat, and Jordan Love might be hurt. Who else in the NFC is really scaring you? And you're a great team. This is the time to try to go nail in the coffin here. I love when teams do this. I love when they try to put themselves over the top.
This is not the nail in the coffin because there might be another big trade. Like this is a minor, kind of a minor move. Like there could be a big move. Like I'd watch San Francisco today. Like they see Lions get Zadarius Smith. We'll see if they try and one up that somehow. Because the Niners are definitely like, I don't know how it happened, but all of a sudden they have less talent than Detroit. To me, those are the two teams.
Can we just also put this a little bit into perspective today? This is the Detroit Lions. Like, we could be staring down a season, and I know we just blew so much smoke on the Kansas City Chiefs, and they deserve it all the time. But, man, are we getting so close to what history, the type of history that could be made here with the Lions? Like,
I swear to God, I'm not a lunatic.
Don't believe you, Dan Campbell. The idea that these long, like, snake-bitten franchises or these hard luck franchises or these loser franchises turn themselves around and finally rip off a win. You saw the Cubs do it. You saw the Red Sox do it now a long time ago. You saw the Cleveland Cavaliers finally win for the city of Cleveland. Like, you finally get some of these teams, and this is a a big deal. We talked about it a lot last year. I don't want that to get lost again this year.
And on the way up, we're going to buy the kneecap
say
off.
The Buffalo Bills will finally win a Super Bowl?
Well, I don't know if it's looking like that this year. This feels a little more like the Lions' year.
Well, okay. We're 8 games in.
Oh, wow. They just made a trade for Zadarius.
Well, I mean, listen, no, I'm saying on your Bills. I mean, obviously the Bills are in pretty good position right now.
Yeah, but they always got Mahomes as the boogeyman's always waiting. And it might be Lamar this year.It could be the other boogeyman. Or Joe Burrow could be the boogeyman.
Did they beat Lamar?
That was 3-4 years ago now.
Lamar Jackson.
2 MVPs ago.
He's definitely not a postseason boogeyman right now.
I asked the Texans. Texans, by the way, also a team that's in that mix. 855-212-4227.
He has a losing record in the playoffs. How can you call him a playoff boogeyman?
Yeah, but does he not keep getting better and better?
No, he was terrible in the AFC title game.
How was he in the divisional round?
He had one. Yeah, I mean, no, he's definitely has not figured out anything in the playoffs. He's great. Don't get me wrong, but no, you can't say he's a playoff boogeyman. He's like the opposite right now. He gets scared. They played scared of that AFC title game. I think it's very interesting. This Chiefs team, is this Chiefs team as good as the one that beat the Eagles 2 years ago in Glendale?
I don't know, but I don't know if that's the calculus. Yeah. Do you have to be better than a previous team, or you just have to be better than the teams you're facing? That Chiefs team, there could be all-time Chiefs teams. Was the Tyreek Hill Chiefs team technically better? I'm sure they probably were. Okay, so the big news today on trade deadline day, and that's the only thing going on today. Can you believe that?
Oh, my God.
Trade deadline day. Kidding, of course. Zadarius Smith ends up going to the Detroit Lions. 855-212-4227. It's Maggie and Perloff. We're back with more.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD, veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. All right, Defensive Player of the Week. Usually I take copious notes during the weekend. Totally blanked on it this weekend, so I'll let you go first, Maggie, while I desperately search for an answer.
Okay, I think that EJ decided to go with college hoops.
Before you even say anything, I'll be very disappointed if you guys don't get this answer.
Oh, is it another Miami thing?
No, you just.
No,
I'm
it
just
can't
saying-
be Miami
I'm
Hurricane.
just saying. I'll
It's
be
defensive player
I'll be
of the week.
disappointed. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't. It could be mean. It could mean anything.
You'll be disappointed because of your particular fan affiliations or because this is obvious?
I would just say because of who I am.
Well, it can't be the Miami Hurricanes, who's one of your team, because they don't play any defense whatsoever.
Okay.
It cannot be the New York Jets because they played. Didn't they play?
Played on Thursday night.
They played on Thursday night, and you never go that far back.
No, I don't think Thursdays count.
It cannot. You're not going to do NBA basketball.
Oh, no, he's going to do Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Who have they played? I mean,
They played last night.
Crushed Baylor, by the way.
Yes, this is EJ's other team.
Top
The
10 matchup.
defensive player of the week is not coming from the Baylor Gonzaga game. That's just not happening.
It might have.
Oh, who you got then?
I'm
Okay.
feverishly going to the Gonzaga box score. Who had blocks in this game? Not that many blocks.
Okay. I had a guy who was saving for our rookie rankings later in the week. Braden Fisk on the Rams is a monster.
Okay.
A monster that should have never fallen past the first round. And he almost killed Geno Smith about 8 times.
Okay.
But, okay, so I'll go Braden Fisk.
Braden.
But that doesn't make any sense with EJ's fan affiliations. He's going to pick a Florida State guy. He's a massive Miami fan. That doesn't add up.
Okay. Well, I'll say that Perloff actually was on the right track here. The defensive player of the week this week is Cam Kinchins, former Miami great, who not only had 2 interceptions, also had a pick 6 in the Rams' win over the Seattle Seahawks. Cam Kinchins was a legend at Miami, so he is the defensive player of the week. He was phenomenal on Sunday.
I was actually wondering during that game, I'm like, who is this guy?
Well, it took the broadcast like a couple beats to get, you know, you could always tell when the spotter is just like trying to get the.
Did he have another near pick too? He was all
he almost
over
had
the
3
field.
picks.
What's that?
Yeah, he almost had 3 picks.
Yeah, he had one that we almost got 2.
Wait, Bogish, as a play-by-play person, can't you tell, like you do this for a living, the beat that the person has, like, it's a pick 6 by, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, Cam Kinchins.
It happened last night with Harlan on the Kelsey fumble. He did not, and then there was a sack too. He's like, and the sack by Kalijah Cansey. Like he was reading it like live office thing. Yeah, it's not football. There's too many guys.
But can
Bad
I just
sport.
say, I think I deserve massive credit that I picked a fellow Rams rookie out of all that happened in the sports world. That
Pretty
we
good,
both
bro.
had Rams rookies.
I was impressed by that.
That was blind luck, by the way. I forgot about it. But now you mention it, like that guy, he was all over the place in that game. He was great.
Yeah,
he was good at Miami.
He was a great player at Miami. Yeah, he was All-American his junior year. Sneaky good draft pick in the 3rd round or wherever they got him.
EJ and I had a very funny conversation about the Miami Hurricanes. Who is the guy who just set the all-time receiving record?
Yeah, Xavier Restrepo.
Did you know that there's a man named Xavier Restrepo is the all-time leading Miami Hurricanes receiver after all the people been through that? You have to admit, that is bizarre.
I started thinking about this more and more. I think it's more because Miami's had so many greats. I think a lot of guys like don't play until they're juniors or seniors. Like there's so many guys in front of them that by the time they get to Miami to play and start, they're going to the NFL.
And how many seasons has Xavier played?
He's played all 4 seasons.
Look at
Two
here's
years
who's
starter.
behind him: Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
And Xavier Restrepo, who, by the way, was really good. He's a factor this year.
I think that he's also going to be a sneaky, really good draft pick next year as a slot guy. I want the Jets to get him. Like, the guy catches everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great receivers who've gone through the U.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I didn't mention Andre Johnson. This is crazy.
Anyway, they don't play 4 years, though, right?
Yeah. That's a great point. That's what EJ just said. I mean, listen, if I desperately don't want EJ to gloat about the Miami Hurricanes, I've been very open about this.
I know, but
it's
just
hard
let it happen, man.
Let them play a real team, then we'll see.
He's a bum.
Oh, gosh.
Well, they're going to make the college football playoff. They're going to be hosting a playoff game, and they're going to play someone.
Yeah.
Might not even have to host a playoff game. They might just get a bye. If they win the conference, they just go right to the it's going to be weird. Maybe the Sugar Bowl. Depends on what happens.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have like is there a weekly course where we can remember how the 12-team playoff works? Every time I try and grab a hold of it, it kind of sneaks out. Like, wait, what? Okay.
Well, we were just talking outside. Like tonight, they're just going to give us a list of teams, right? And then we have to do like the reconfiguring of where people go in potential matchups.
Yes.
Right. So tonight is the first college football playoff rankings.
Right.
So
I can't believe they're doing this tonight.
Yes.
So the ranking is not going to have anything to do with the seeding.
No,
I mean the conference seeding.
The ranking could have like Ohio State, like the AP poll at number 3, but they can't be 3 in the final CFP because they're not going to. They might not win the Big Ten.
Correct.
Wow.
Or like Boise State might not be in the top 12 on this list tonight, but they might be in the 12 playoff because they're going to be the best, group of 5 teams.
Wow. So, but you'll see there'll be like 16, the highest group of 5 teams. So you'll get a sense of.
Yeah. See, that's what I don't understand. Why are they not releasing the college football playoff rankings as if this is how they would be released at the end of the year? They're just doing a poll, basically, a top 25.
Well, I think
that's what I think. That's what they've always done. But it was then easy when we got to the last 4. That was the last 4, and you could just make the semifinals. I assume they're doing the same thing now, but I guess they could.
No, they've got to do it as the format.
No,
we got to see where
so.
Notre Dame's going to be. You got to see where if Oregon and Ohio State both in the Big Ten, how that would shake out.
I think you have to do it this way because you're going to have to make real decisions. Like, for example, say Notre Dame is 10 and SMU is 11. You got to compare those two teams against each other. Like, you have to have it's important who's 16, 17, 18 so we get a sense of how they value these teams.
Okay, but then you have to be freaking Einstein to put it all together.
Well, maybe they can maybe Steve Kornacki has some downtime tonight. He can come over and do a little fancy graphic chart.
I'm sure he's not busy.
Yeah.
They should go back to the BCS way.
No. By the way, the 12-team playoff.
No.
12-team playoff is awesome. I mean, I don't know why
I love it.
How can you not love it? This is the greatest college football season. The fact that, I mean, honestly, like in a normal year, EJ's Miami Hurricanes will lose the ACC title game and we wouldn't even get to see them in the final. Sorry, bud.
Yeah.
This is the same Andrew Perloff who's like, rivalries are going to suffer.
No,
nothing means anything anymore.
There's one thing since 2000, I think 8. I've been expanding the college football players. Nothing made me more mad than when Ohio State got in and Baylor and Kansas State got kicked out. I'm like, you have to expand this, and it has really worked. I mean, is there anyone who's arguing, we should go back to 4 except for Manning and the BCS?
No, but save the flavor because it's not going to be 12 for long.
Oh yeah, 16's fine. It's totally fine. There's zero downside to me. I do think these teams that haven't played anyone like Notre Dame and Miami, I'm curious how they'll actually play in the playoffs. But
Notre Dame played Texas A&M.
Notre Dame's schedule is ridiculous.
They're not doing it this way, but I do think that eventually, I don't think that the teams who win their conference should get an automatic bye and become a top 4 team. Because one, that's going to be very confusing to people tonight. There's going to be a lot of confusing numbers tonight. But in the college football thing, I think that's going to be, because you're going to see, again, some Big 12 school that's not going to be top 4. When they do the bracket, they're going to put them in a 4 seed, and it's not going to make sense to people.
But isn't that sort of the compromise you have to make when you want to get rid of divisions?
Well, no, just give them an automatic. I think there should be an automatic qualifier, just like in college basketball, right? Like just because you win the Mountain West
doesn't mean you get a 1 seed. You just get in the tournament.
Yeah, you just get in the tournament, which I think is fine. I think that's fair.
That's a pretty valid argument. I agree with you. I think, who knows? By the way, did they give language like, wait, we're not totally set in this format?
No,
specifically that issue.
This is a trial basis.
Yep.
I mean, it's 12 teams, but it's a trial basis on how they seed them. Bogish has headlines for us, including a big trade that went down just about 30 minutes ago.
They're all sponsored, these headlines, by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. It is almost like he can't get hurt.
Mahomes on third down and goal to go. Now we'll scramble to the right side. Now he'll flip it late, and it's caught. Touchdown! Kansas City, and Mahomes is down. Mahomes is down on all fours.
After stepping wrong on his left ankle, tossing that TD to Samaje Perine, Mahomes was in obvious pain. He limped off the field with help, but Carson Wentz never had to put the clipboard down. Mahomes led 2 more touchdown drives, the last of which ended the game. Kareem Hunt, a 2-yard run for a 30-24 OT win over the Bucs. Andy Reid on his quick healing QB.
He might have the loosest ankles in America.
His ankles can date whomever they want. It's 2024. Mahomes, 3 touchdown passes, none to Travis Kelce, but he did catch 14 balls for 100 yards. KC stays perfect at 8-0, extending its win streak to 14 going back to December. The Bucs going in the other direction, a 3-game skid despite Baker Mayfield's best efforts without his top 2 receivers, 23 of 31, 200 yards, 2 scores, no turnovers. Tampa's now 2 full games behind Atlanta in the NFC South.
Don't really care.
We do have a trade ahead of this afternoon's deadline. The Lions are adding Zadarius Smith from the Browns to help replace Aiden Hutchinson. The 2 teams swapping late-round picks in this deal as well.
And that's fine.
Dak Prescott will not play Sunday against the Eagles, expected to miss multiple games with Sunday's hamstring injury. But wideout CeeDee Lamb's shoulder is not as serious. He could play this weekend. Oregon leading receiver Tez Johnson is out for now with Saturday's shoulder injury, but Dan Lanning said yesterday they're expecting Johnson back this season. Cooper Flagg, 18 points in his college debut. 7th-ranked Duke steamrolling Maine 96-62. Number 6, Gonzaga embarrassing 8th-ranked Baylor 101-63 in Spokane. And a court storming on opening night as UCF took down number 13 Texas A&M. The LA Clippers were down 40-14 to the Spurs after 1 quarter last night, well on their way to remaining winless in their new arena. But then they rallied. A 113-104 win for head coach Ty Lue.
It was good for us to get this monkey off our back, to complete the game, to play well the last 3 quarters, and I'm just happy for our guys.
Victor Wembanyama, 24 points, 13 boards, and 9 blocks in the loss. Tyrese Halliburton had 25 points and 12 assists, and the Pacers 134-127 win in Dallas. The Grizzlies lose in Brooklyn 106-104, but Zach Edey put up 25 points and 11 boards, and the Celtics cruised through Atlanta 123-93. Jason Tatum scoring 26 of his 28 in the first half. Guys, back to you.
Bogish, thanks so much. Coming up, Perloff, you have one more trade you want to see today?
Yes.
I've been told this is an all-timer.
Who told you that? Me?
Yes.
You shouldn't have listened to me.
Also, we've got a wide receiver and a head coach not on the same page. And that's an understatement. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Perloff has a gangbusters trade idea for us. I've already seen one trade today. Zadarius Smith of the Cleveland Browns is now going to the Detroit Lions. If you're just waking up, getting your coffee, Lions get a pass rusher to maybe not replace Aiden Hutchinson. Perloff, that would be impossible, but to at least shore up that line. Before you get to yours, though, let's go to Chris. He's in California.
Hey, what's going on? Good morning.
Chris, who do you want to see traded today?
So I know we got less than 8 hours left. I'm just making a pitch for David Tepper. Go get your alumni buddy. Yeah, go get Kenny Pickett. Trade Bryce Young for Kenny Pickett. Make the QB swap.
Okay, but Chris, why?
Why? Because like I've explained a million times, Kenny Pickett's his potential is being wasted as a backup.
He chose this. He chose to be a backup. He could have hung in Pittsburgh and battled it out with Russell Wilson, couldn't he?
No. He was screwed over by Pittsburgh.
You know, he didn't look good in the preseason, Chris. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, everyone in Philly said he was outplayed by Tanner McKee for a backup job. He looked kind of shaky.
Okay, so then there should be no loss in Philadelphia. You get Tanner McKee, you get Bryce Young. I mean, they can continue to glorify Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback.
Wait, Chris, if you like Kenny Pickett, why would you want to send him to Carolina? That's where quarterbacks go to die.
Because you have a lot of draft capital coming up, and you build around Kenny Pickett. You build the locker room around him, just like the locker room is built around Jalen.
Yeah, I mean, thank you.
I mean,
I hadn't thought of it. Because why would the Carolina Panthers do that? You're going to have a top 5 pick this year. Just draft another quarterback.
Well, they could. I mean, you get a 7th-round pick for Kenny Pickett. I do wonder if anybody believes in Kenny Pickett anymore. I kind of think no. He feels like he got to the Mitch Trubisky stage of his career really quickly.
Listen, he's going to be a backup probably for a long time. So,
well, unless there's 32 GMs, I wonder if anybody loved him in the pre-draft process. You think Kenny Pickett never gets another shot? We're already done with him?
It's not about being done with him. You can have a long backup quarterback career, maybe get a second life. And sometime you're a backup, someone gets hurt. But no, I don't think anyone's handing him starter jobs anymore.
You don't think he even gets to battle for a job ever again? That's
maybe a fake battle.
How could it end that quickly for Kenny Pickett?
I think he'll get another shot because we saw Mitchell Trubisky get another shot. So
I also too.
Trubisky was a 2nd overall pick. We have like draft, but guys live their draft pick for a while.
Pickett was the 1st-round pick. I mean,
I know, but in a draft class that was not good.
Yeah,
for quarterbacks.
I don't know. I mean, right. Eventually, even if he is a backup, he'll probably get a starting chance. I can't see the NFL being done with Kenny Pickett. It just feels way too soon.
I kind of think the flip side of that trade actually is more interesting because
Bryce Young,
because when Bogus said his report earlier that the Panthers are still deciding between Dalton and Young, that's weird. Like,
also, Bryce Young just won a game.
Yeah, Young
Why would you just go with him?
Actually looked okay. I mean, Saints, but he didn't look terrible.
Saints should have won that game by 36 points. Like, they were just
but it wasn't
so poorly coached.
No, for sure. But Bryce Young did not lose. In fact, he won in the game. They went down the field and scored a touchdown to end the game. Like, are they maybe shopping him? Is that why Dalton is potentially like still in play?
I don't know. I think what Manny said before. I think Dave Canales is trying to play some weird mind games with the Giants. Like
4-14, both of them combined. What are we doing?
You don't know who we're gonna start. How could you possibly not start Bryce Young? You have to start him.
Well, it might be annoying to have Bryce Young in the building next year. Like, that might be you bring
trade him in the offseason. Don't worry. You're
why
still
not trade
going to
him
lose
now?
games.
What's the difference? Why trade him in the offseason?
Because maybe you have more teams that could be vying for him. Open it up a little bit. How many teams you're going to trade him now? I'd go in the offseason. Maybe he plays well in the last couple weeks.
I mean, there's no way anyone's trading for him to be a starter. He's nowhere near that.
Again, I know it's small, but strike while the iron's hot. He's probably played 2 of his best games of his career recently. Like, why wouldn't you trade him now?
I think they're going to keep starting him, personally. Anyway, let's not bury what is the lead of this and get sidetracked with a Bryce Young conversation. Perloff has a trade for us.
Okay. So the NFC East, somewhat up for grabs. Would you agree?
Yeah, but Dallas is out.
Right. So the Commanders everyone thinks they're going to make a move today. Probably go for Newsome or Lattimore, get a second. So the Commanders are making a cornerback. They're making waves. There's no doubt.
Don't sleep on my Giants.
So the Eagles need to counter.
They just signed someone out of the stands in Germany. It's like, hey,
Guten Tag.
Hans. I don't know. German name. Sorry.
Yeah. Wait, what was I saying?
Sorry. Hans is a little more Dutch. Anyway.
Eagles and Commanders.
Duking it out for corners.
NFC East, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I want the Eagles trade for Taysom Hill. He's expensive. So Saints want to get rid of him. There's no doubt about it. But the problem around the NFL is short yardage for everybody. The tush push is not working. Can you imagine Taysom Hill? Taysom Hill is gigantic. He's like 6'5". Just take Hurts out on the tush push, put Hill in, and also, too, he could probably catch passes for you. I feel like the Eagles need to fix their short yardage, and then they desperately need to keep Saquon Barkley off the field a little bit more. Like, he's touching the ball way too much.
Okay, so you want Taysom Hill to go to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, so everyone thinks Peyton might make a play today for Taysom Hill. You know, Sean Payton, who loves Taysom Hill. I think the Eagles need a bruiser. They need their Derrick Henry, and that's what Taysom Hill could be.
Derrick Henry.
Like a guy who you can do a shotgun stab and he's just going to run over. And we saw it last week. Like he will just run over a linebacker. Like they need that tough physical runner so they don't need Saquon in all those short yardage situations.
Okay, see, this is what I don't understand about the tush push. Why does it not work now?
Because the officials hate it. And they're, even when they clearly get over it, they mark it behind for some reason.
So why would it change with Taysom Hill?
Because Taysom Hill is the strongest, most athletic man in the NFL.
When he's healthy. Because, by the way, I think Jalen Hurts is pretty strong and pretty athletic. And, by the way, the tush push worked with him for 2 seasons.
I know. I just feel like all of a sudden their once unstoppable short yardage situation is not unstoppable anymore. And Nick Sirianni keeps on going for 2-point conversions, and they're not even close. They're not even close to converting any of them.
Well, as we learned earlier today, because Todd Bowles did not go for the 2-point play to win the game last night, he kicked the field goal to go to overtime with the Chiefs, and you lose. Nobody's converting 2-point conversions
I know that's
this year.
But you know who's really good in that kind of situation? Taysom Hill. I think he's like a secret weapon.
How many games has he played this year? The dude's hurt all the time.
I don't know. I just noticed a lot of teams are having short yardage situations, and a guy like him. He's just, the problem is they signed him, so he's got a little bit of money on the cap. Let's see. The Eagles, by the way, are 40% on fourth down, considering how much they go for it. I'm sorry, 40% on 2-point conversions. Considering that Sirianni just has no idea what to do, like that's an important play for them. I don't know. I would just like to see that. So, because the Birds also, I would love to see them get some more defensive help. But everybody wants a cornerback. Everyone wants a pass rusher. Every team in the league.
This is what I don't understand about the Eagles specifically, and Nick Sirianni, their head coach, who we've already acknowledged no one knows what he does around there. Because he's not calling plays on the offense. He's not in charge of the defense. He's not in charge of the special teams. He's supposed to be the vibes guy, and everybody boos him and hates him. Okay? The fan base. And maybe some of the players didn't get along with Jalen Hurts. Maybe they've turned the relationship around. So we all do the joke, what exactly do you do around here from Office Space? They don't have an analytics guy right into the headset?
Oh, they have 12 analytics. They have the biggest analytics department in the league.
So are they telling him to go for 2 on all these?
Probably. That's an analytics thing. That's what the analytics guys always do, right?
Right, but like, can we go a step further? Maybe the analytics guys can also tell him what plays to run on these 2-pointers?
I don't know. It feels hard this year. I just don't know what it is. Also, the Eagles had some injuries. You know, they have not been fully constituted offensively every week, but I feel like a guy like that, just a tough physical player, the Eagles, because right now the Eagles are not going to overwhelm anybody physically.
Let's go to our pal Big Dave is in Kentucky. Dave, I know you got some football stuff for us, but can I just ask you, so Kentucky, a whole new era of Kentucky basketball started last night. How'd you feel about it?
Get some. That's how I feel about it. Get some. Did you guys happen to watch your city highlights?
Saw the highlights, yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, this fan base, including me, hasn't been this excited in the last 10 years. I mean, everything about it. Do you know that they won by 41 points? Mark Pope's old number at UK, 41 points. You tell me that the good Lord above has not intervened in this program.
I mean, it was Wright State, Big Dave, but
yeah,
still.
I was going to say, who they beat? UConn, Duke? What's going on here?
Duke's coming up. Week Tuesday after next.
Wait, hey, Dave, you're more excited. Did they have, like, what happened to the teams with, like, 5 stars and, like, 4 future pros? Like, you're more excited about this team than those teams?
Yeah, I am. They're in Arkansas right now, getting beat by TCU last week. That's where they're at.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dave, what would you rather have if we gave you truth serum, that Kentucky wins a title or that Calipari just bottoms out?
I plead the fifth, and I don't wish him any bad. I don't wish him any bad luck. We were just tired of him. I mean, you know, the Memphis fan base told us all when he came here that you will love him when he gets here, but you'll be ready to kick his ass out the door when he leaves. And that's pretty much what happened. I mean, you know, after a while, you get tired of the stick, and it's the things on the court, I mean, that just made no sense, and you listen to him talk, and it was nonsensical stuff. We're in a good place. I hope he does well down there, not too well in Pigville, but we're good up here.
Got their opener against Lipscomb. I never know how to pronounce that one. Dave, what do you think about you're no longer a Cowboys fan? You've disowned them, but now you're a big Bengals fan. How you feeling?
Listen, I've got. We could go down south to the Big Easy and make things a whole lot better. Going down and visit our buddies, the New Orleans Saints, and come up with a trade for Marshawn Lattimore, who's an Ohio kid, played for Ohio State University, and also Chase Young. I mean, that would fill two gaping holes in our defense, which is the problem right now. And I would think New Orleans is probably getting ready to have a fire sale anyway. I just think that would be a great move and really solidify our defense up here and make me feel a whole lot better about things going forward.
But, Dave, why is everyone talking about the opposite way about trading Trey Hendrickson and possibly trading T. Higgins? Like, why is that in the ether?
They're not going to trade T. Higgins. That's just a matter of I think that's a personality conflict, and
it sucks because when he's on the field, they are amazing, right? Isn't that a gigantic game changer?
Absolutely. I don't think there's any way that they trade him. I don't see that happening. I think we're going to be buyers and not sellers.
Wait, Big Dave. So Big Dave was a diehard Cowboy fan, but just couldn't take it anymore. You jumped off the Cowboys. I know that was painful for you, but you did it. So I'd love to know if we were a fly on the wall at your house when you heard Jerry Jones, after Dak Prescott got hurt, to say, we're going to be making some moves at the deadline.
And I don't doubt that. Here's what he'll do. Probably. Instead, they should be selling, man. They should blow this thing up. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, would y'all agree with that at this point, I mean, if you were a rational thinking general manager, would you not thinking that we have got to? I mean, if you look at like their cap hit for next year.
Sorry, Dave, we're up against the top of the hour. You can't blow it up. You pay Dak Prescott $60 million a year. You're all in, whether you want to be or not.
You can sell. No one's buying those contracts.
Good luck, Dave. You're the best. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in.
I think the Cowboys have no choice. They're rebuilding now, whether they buy or sell.
Oh my gosh! Got an update for you on Dak Prescott's hamstring. By the way, get that to you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
In the shotgun, here's a five-man rush and a quick throw and a belt-high catch by Hopkins and a touchdown at the goal line. He spun in. His second touchdown reception tonight. And the Chiefs have taken a lead with 4:17 to go on a 5-yard bullet.
Kevin Harlan on Westwood One. Chiefs winning in overtime last night against the Bucs. Wildly entertaining game, and one that I think the Chiefs tell you they can win in all these different types of ways. You know, they win close games, and I don't think it's luck. I don't think it's flukes. I think it's a good team taking advantage of their opportunities. The Bucs allowed the Chiefs, Perloff, to, they didn't go for the win. They instead go for the tie. You go to the overtime with the Chiefs, and I don't care if the Chiefs got the ball first or second. You are taking your own football lives into your hands at that point. Ask Kyle Shanahan.
So, okay, let me make sure I got this hot take right. You're saying the two-time defending champion at 7-0 Chiefs are a good team?
Now 8-0.
But I disagree with that. They can win in any kind of way because they seem to be only winning in one way. That's running the ball, letting the other team hang around, and finding a way to have Patrick Mahomes carry you in the last 3 minutes. That seems to be the only way they're winning.
But has it been effective?
Of course it's been effective.
And won't it be effective because he's the best quarterback that we have? Mm-hmm. So the Chiefs will always have the advantage at the end of the game. Always. And this is
could you say that with Tom Brady and the Patriots?
Yes. And did they win
what
a
happened?
lot? Did they win a hell of a lot more than they lost?
Yes, but did they lose close Super Bowls? Yes, just fast forward to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a 3-point game with 4 minutes left. They can't win all these games, Maggie. They just can't keep finding a way to get the play to go their way every time. Eventually, there's going to be a David Tyree. Eventually, there's going to be a Philly special. Eventually, someone is going to get them. They cannot win every Super Bowl for the rest of time.
I don't know. I kind of think they can, and here's why.
Yeah, I know you think that, but that's crazy.
Okay, but they never get satisfied, and I think that's important because last night was kind of like the real fruits of the labor that the front office has done over the last couple weeks. DeAndre Hopkins scores 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt scores the game winner in overtime. Josh Uche ends up making a nice tackle. These are 3 guys, and they actually added 5, but these are 3 dudes they've added in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but Kareem Hunt, I mean, they could have anybody in that role too. They've proven that. Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th-round pick. I'm not so. That is on
but Carson Steele's not that guy. And I think if that had been Carson Steele, they probably wouldn't have made the move, but they did. And look how
they were bringing him back. I mean, basically.
But that's fine. But they're the ones who did it. And the fact is that Kareem Hunt played a huge role in the game last night. You have bad weather, and he was leaning and keeping drives alive.
No, he was great. But here's the thing: they're not going to be the only bold contender. There's going to be moves today. And also, too, we've already seen other serious contenders like EJ's New York Jets trade for Devontae Adams. Just joking. But I don't think that the Chiefs are not going to just outmaneuver everyone at this trade deadline to win it. I think there are going to be other teams that are going to make moves today. So I think the Chiefs are going to be right there. Look at the odds right now. They're almost tied with the Lions and the Ravens. I think this is going to be. They are we're not going to overwhelm anybody like we used to when Patrick Mahomes had 50 touchdowns in a season. We are going to battle, and I think that's just a fraught formula, Maggie. I think at some point, they can't win every one-score game. They just can't do it. They're not going to go 17-0 and win every game by between 4 and 7 points.
Okay, but here's the thing. I think you're pining for days that even when they were a more explosive offense with Tyreek Hill, they were still winning close Super Bowls. They were still trailing Jimmy Garoppolo by 10 points in the fourth quarter. They've always been close. Your Philadelphia Eagles was close. Last year was close. They're all going to be close. That's not a crime because they're the ones who are actually coming out on the winning end of this. And
I'm not saying it's a crime.
it doesn't
Jerry
take
Jones
away
saying
from
we're
their dominance.
all in and then not getting anybody, that's a sports crime.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I just am not. I watched that Chiefs team last night against a hobbled Bucs team, and I just wasn't blown away. I mean, again, maybe I'm being naive here. I was just like, oh my God, how many little 3-yard passes are going to throw to Travis Kelce? This guy's 35 years old. How many hits do you want him to have? One of these is not going to land right.
Well, you saw Mahomes last night not land right on his ankle, and he missed 0 snaps.
Mahomes honestly should not have been scrambling around at that point. They should have been up 28-7 on this team. This is not. If you can't beat the Bucs handily at home right now with no Mike Evans and no Chris Godwin, I'm just not sure who are the easy wins on the schedule. Do they play the Panthers? Do they play the Patriots? Because I think there's pretty much everyone's all right, we're going to be able to battle this team.
They beat the 49ers by 10 points.
I mean, hobbled 49ers.
But you keep moving the goalposts on me because this is not a style points thing.
But it reminds me of the Eagles who were 10-1 last year, and it was the thinnest 10-1. It reminds me of the Vikings a few years ago who were 13-4. These wins are this is not how Kansas City wants to win these games. Wait a minute. Get out of here. It reminds me a lot of last year's 10-1. I think
this Kansas City Chiefs team does not resemble that Vikings team in any way.
In the sense that their record is worse than their point differential. They're, I think, 9th in point differential and number 1 in record. That was the Vikings. They were 13-4 and they were winning every game by 2 points.
Okay, but you just said it yourself. Who are the easy games that they're having, right? Divisional games are divisional games. I don't care who you are.
The Raiders are easy. I don't care if you're a elite college team. The Raiders are an easy team. That is an easy game. Should be an easy game, especially when there's revenge on your mind. That should be an easy win.
No, but see, this is funny, though, because you expect when it's your team in your division, the NFC East, that every game's a dogfight.
I don't.
For some reason, with the Chiefs, you wouldn't expect the same thing. These are familiar foes. And then they beat the Bengals. They beat the Ravens.
They beat the Bengals by
They beat the
hair.
49ers. These are, I know, but you're asking, they're playing tough teams is what I'm saying.
I hear you, but honestly, I think that it's very, very unlikely that their second half goes as well as their first half. Very, very unlikely.
I think it's likely they might run the table.
See, that's where you and I differ. Something has to change because I do not see this team running the table.
I mean, listen, only 2 teams have done it, right? I mean, the Dolphins actually did the real thing, and then the Patriots did it in the regular season, so it's going to be extremely difficult, but
I think they run, then they get to the playoffs against the Ravens, and all of a sudden you're going to see a passing game that you're like, where was that all season? I think the Chiefs are playing, honestly, possum with their offense, believe it or not.
That might be. And, well, it could be working for them because they're 8-0. Again, they win in overtime last night against the Bucs. Rainy night. Bucs feeling desperate. They're just coming off of a loss to the Falcons. You're welcome to weigh in 855-212-4227. Do you see the Chiefs as vulnerable? Do you see the Chiefs as dominant? That's for you.
And by the way, is Chris Jones, either you hold him or he kills your quarterback. Those are the only two options with that man. That's
amazing.
The
fact that they even questioned whether they were going to pay this guy is so silly.
Yeah. No, he's Aaron Donald 2.0. He is ridiculous.
So that's what's going on with the two-time defending Super Bowl champions. Today is trade deadline day. We already saw early this morning Zadarius Smith of the Cleveland Browns, the edge rusher, has been traded to the Detroit Lions, who are obviously looking to make up some of the lost production from Aiden Hutchinson. This has been out there a little bit, so they finally crossed the T's and dotted the I's, Pearl.
Yeah, no, this is a smart move by the Lions. Not a major move. A 32-year-old edge rusher, those are a little bit dicey. And I know that because I've watched Von Miller play for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I wish they'd just give him a seat permanently.
I don't know what it's because they really held the Packers in check for the first half on a rainy field at Lambeau. It's hard to tell. I feel like the Lions didn't skip a beat after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. Yeah. And they really feel like a house right now. They can control the ball with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. This team feels really dangerous right now.
Yeah, the age doesn't bother me because we're 8 games into the season. You just need this guy it's going to take him, 2 weeks to probably get fully integrated into the team and where he can maybe be playing some really meaningful snaps.
But does he in any way fill a void that was Aiden Hutchinson?
No. But
Aiden Hutchinson is like a defensive player of the year guy.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be very unlikely that one person was going to do that, but it doesn't hurt. And for a 5th round pick and a 6th round pick, who cares? If you're the Lions, this is all in. This is what all in really looks like. What the Chiefs are doing, what the Lions are doing. This is all Jerry Jones's pipe dream. That's not real. This actually is real.
Yeah, well, we'll see how I think you have to compare it to what the Niners do today and what maybe the Eagles do today. It's all in-ish. There might be more all in. I think there could be a big deal coming up, like something that will reshape the NFC.
This is the year to do it because you got so many bad teams and you've got a handful of actual contenders this year. Normally I think we say there's about 8 teams that could win the Super Bowl every year.
Top heavy.
Do we have even that many?
I think we could invent them, yeah. I mean, you got the Chiefs, you got the Ravens, you have the Niners, Lions, Eagles, Packers.
You put the Texans in there? You putting my Bills in there?
Barcelona
Definitely
Dragons, maybe?
Definitely the Bills.
The Rain Fire?
You can put the Texans. Texans all of a sudden can run the ball.
Do you think they make a trade?
For what? For receiver? Yeah.
They could actually use more offensive linemen.
We got 8-ish there. And now we didn't even put the Bengals. If the Bengals get in the postseason, don't bet against Joe Burrow. Rule number 1.
Of the Maggie and Perloff show. It's part of our 10 commandments. The other part, though, is you also have 9 teams with 2 wins. So you have a lot of rosters that could be ripe for the picking.
Yeah. The question is, do you do short term and take a huge salary cap hit? Or, I don't know. By the way, Cowboys, do you really think they'll buy today?
No. No. N-O.
Yeah.
No. I don't. I'm out on believing anything about anything that they do. It's so over to me because this is not a very good team. And with Dak Prescott gone, they're even worse. So why would I think now's when the big turnaround's going to come? Because my idea for them was to, trade for Nick Chubb. He's not going to do anything.
Here we go. I actually thought of, in the break, a defense for the Dallas Cowboys.
Like defensive players?
No, defense of how bad they've been. Nope. How bad they've been this year.
Oh, you have an excuse.
If it wasn't the Dallas Cowboys, and I told you there was a team who was losing a Hall of Fame left tackle and was going all rookies basically on their offensive line, and then would lose their best pass rusher 4 games into the season. And you said, oh, okay, if that's the case, I can understand them having a disappointing year. So why can't we say that kind of thing for the Cowboys?
Well, up until last week, did they have their quarterback?
Yeah, no, they have their quarterback, but they're going very, very young, almost rebuild mode on the offensive line, and they lost their best pass rusher. What are the Steelers without T.J. Watt? What are the Browns without Myles Garrett? now all of a sudden, but we're not going to say that with the Cowboys and Micah Parsons?
Well, is Micah Parsons really, he's
Yes,
in that company?
Oh, my
but
God, yeah, he's in that company.
I know, but we watched the Dallas Cowboys get blown out because they can't stop the run with Micah Parsons on the field, helpless on the sideline.
We've seen Myles Garrett. We've seen
Totally.
we saw Houston Texans score 40-something in the playoffs against Myles Garrett. It happens.
I think that my general rule of thumb with the NFL and injuries, maybe I guess TJ Watt might be the exception because the record is so ridiculously lopsided without him on the field. If you haven't lost your quarterback, I don't really want to hear about it.
I don't know. These pass rushers, the Steelers are 1-11 without Watt, but the Browns are 4-11 without Myles Garrett.
But the Browns are also the Browns.
Yeah, but they're way better with Myles Garrett. They have a winning record. So he makes a huge difference. I think a pass rusher can, I mean, the elite of the elite. I think Aaron Donald was like that. I think Chris Jones is probably going to be like that if he gets hurt.
You can't put the Steelers and the Browns in the same category in terms of how teams are run, stability, what the floor is, what the ceiling is. Like I can't put them in the same category. So no, I don't put Myles Garrett in that category because there's so much other BS that goes on around the Browns that the Steelers don't necessarily deal with.
But their winning percentage is much, much better, significantly better with him on the field. And I think you're underrating Myles Garrett. I think he's just as right there with TJ Watt. And honestly, Parsons, that Atlanta game, Kirk Cousins was sitting back there with no fear whatsoever.
Well, that was a close game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's going to have an impact in a close game. But there are times when the Cowboys, because they can't stop the run, just get completely blown out.
I feel like everyone's forgotten how good that guy can be in games. He also makes plays. He makes other plays. Anyway, but what about the rebuilding offensive line? Why didn't we look at them and say, you know what? They are very young in some key spots. Normally, that is a tough situation. I mean, their left tackle's a rookie. That is not what you usually say of a contender unless it happens to be the Chiefs.
Well, it's just funny because last year when Tyron Smith got hurt, they also were playing a rookie left tackle, and they seemed to be fine then. And he had to hold the fort for them for several weeks.
I know, but you know what I mean.
And last year they won 12 games. And I guess maybe it's just this is a tip of the cap to the Cowboys is I never really worry about their offensive line. This is kind of their calling card. This is the one thing they probably, to be fair, do maybe better than anyone else, drafting offensive linemen. So, no, I don't give them a pass for this. I think as long as you have your QB, you have got no excuses. Now, the Cowboys no longer have their QB. Dak Prescott got hurt in that Falcons game. He's going to miss several weeks with a hamstring injury. And I wonder, what does this look like after several weeks? If there's I know you wouldn't shut them down. You're paying them all this money. But after you play the Eagles, the Texans, and the Commanders, you could easily lose all three of those games, Perloff.
Here we go.
So then you'd be 3-8.
Yeah, but there's nothing to
tank for.
There's nothing to tank for.
Not a quarterback, but any other position on the field.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the difference? I mean, if they're 18 or 12, I mean, it's not a huge deal. Plus, there's going to be a lot of bad teams below them. I mean, they're not going to outflank the Giants this year.
Probably
Here
not.
we go.
I don't think the big Giants turnaround happens in Germany.
There are some teams. I mean, you mentioned they're 9-2 win teams. A lot of them need quarterbacks, so they're going to be losing very, very
with a vengeance.
Heartily.
Yeah. 855-212-4227. So got a little there on last night and the Chiefs. Do they look vulnerable? Do they look dominant? And then a little there on a trade for today. Zadarius Smith is going to the Lions. Just got that for you. And also the Cowboys. Good luck to you, Cooper Rush. EJ, you look like you want to say something.
This Zadarius Smith trade just has me interested. Only because he didn't really play that great last year. This year he's playing great, probably knowing he was going to get traded as soon as the season looked so dire. I wonder if a guy at his age that gets the luxury of one-on-ones because Myles Garrett's on the other side, what is he like on that line, defensive line, that's actually a little depleted?
Who says we can't get flexed?
Now he's the guy, right? So at that age, where he is in his career, he's not going to match Aiden Hutchinson, production, but he's even going to be the productive guy we saw in Cleveland this year? I don't know.
Well, it doesn't. Aaron Glenn, I noticed this last week. He's sending a lot of guys.
That's true.
Yeah, so he'll blitz to make up for it. So I don't know. Maybe he generates pressure, and you got Ailey McNeil up the middle. I agree with you. I do not think this is a big deal.
I mean, I think it's a team being aggressive though, and not just sitting back saying, we know we got it. We're going to be okay. Trying. If he gets one sack at a key moment, it's worth it.
Being aggressive would have been really, really, really putting calls into the Raiders.
I don't think Maxx Crosby was ever available.
You're probably right, but I don't know. Like, being aggressive would have been Trey Hendrickson, Maxx Crosby, Myles Garrett. Like,
Trey Hendrickson makes no sense.
well, he's apparently his name keeps coming up.
Well, that's because he's ticked off, right? And wanted
it's
a new
the money.
contract and all that. But, like, why would the Bengals ever do that? It doesn't
I don't
make
know.
any sense.
Why won't they pay that guy again? He's their entire defense.
Well, I mean, the Bengals have a history of not paying guys. They have recently, but Jamar Chase is ticked off. Hendrickson's ticked off. T. Higgins is ticked off. I mean, half the roster is mad. The only one happy is probably Burrow.
And Rich.
What's that?
And Rich.
Yeah, he's
also the only
he's
one.
happy and rich.
Yeah.
With all
I'm
these,
Joe.
with all the, with basically the Cleveland Browns kind of waving the white flag, I guess, right? Brown season over.
Yeah, Browns, they definitely want a quarterback.
What do you do with Stefanski? Because talking about somebody who may have get a bit of a pass. Deshaun's been a disaster. Now he's hurt. Jameis Winston is whichever way the wind blows. Can he really be on the hot seat?
I can't believe this. I mean, I first of all, if you say you're drafting, say, I'll name a quarterback, Cam Ward next year, like, who's a perfect coach for him? Stefanski. Like, you cannot let that guy out the door if you're Cleveland. You'd be out of your mind.
Somebody's going to have to wear Deshaun's failure, though. And I don't think it's definitely not going to be the owner.
Bingo.
And
So it should be Andrew Berry.
In theory, but is another GM.
Why would Stefanski wear that?
Because he's an offensive head coach, and this is a guy who threw 5,000 yards last time he was on the field, and he came to the Browns and forgot how to play football.
Yeah, but is he a trainer? Like, I don't understand. How many times was Deshaun Watson hurt?
A million, but when he was playing, he didn't look very.
Yeah,
but he wasn't healthy.
Terrible.
Yeah, but honestly, that's crazy. That's crazy
I agree.
to me.
I think Stefanski's a really good coach. I hope
He's
he gets
two-time
fired.
coach of the year.
Yeah, I hope he gets fired and the Jets get him. I'm like, some of this is wishful thinking, but I do think someone's going to wear this Deshaun failure beyond Deshaun.
Well, the other part too is, yes, I don't think he should be fired. Would I be shocked? No, because the Browns are a bad organization whose owner has a itchy trigger finger when it comes to firing head coaches and pointing fingers. And I think their expectations were, we're finally going to win a Super Bowl, right? And so so he doesn't deserve it, and I would not be shocked.
I'd be utterly shocked. Can you imagine
But the Browns are a bad team. They do what bad teams do.
I mean, who would they hire? I mean, they would go from Stefanski to nobody. Ben Johnson's certainly not going there. Bill Belichick's not going there, especially Bill Belichick. So, like, they're going to get some, like, they'll get the maybe 20th choice. There's no way.
Cliff Kingsbury? Give him Cam Ward?
Oh, yeah, the old Arizona formula.
Yeah. Air raid at Miami, then he goes air raid with Cleveland.
The team hired Freddie Kitchens. Or elevated, I'm sorry. Whatever. Guy's wearing a sweatshirt with a dog on the front of it. I mean, I get it's the dog pound, but you're the head coach.
I don't even know if Cliff wants that job.
With a quarterback.
Even if he can get his own quarterback? I know, I mean, he had to pick Kyler Murray last time.
Cliff loves his warm weather. I don't know if he's going to want to be in Cleveland. Loves a direct flight to Vegas. I'm just not. I'm not. I mean,
that's what you're looking for in a head coach.
Honestly, Kingsbury
priorities?
might have better choices. They might have to get they might have Mike McCarthy. I don't even know what they're going to do. Stefanski would be so far and away the best fit for them next year. I don't. If they really, if you guys heard that they're going to make Stefanski wear this, like, where is this coming from?
Wait, didn't he come into the season? There were a lot of people who thought he was on the hot seat coming into the season.
I did not. No, I didn't. I did not see that. He was on the hot seat with Dennis Allen.
According to betonline.ag.org.com/.net. 855-212-4227. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in on that. What's going on with the Browns right now? They make a trade this morning. Zadarius Smith is going to the Detroit Lions, the pass rusher. Coming up next, college basketball season is upon us, both the men and the women. We are going to pick our guys and gals. You know, it's like, hey, that's my guy, that's my gal. And this is it now, Perloff. No backsies. You pick this person. This is your person. You can't jump off their bandwagon. 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, back on Maggie and Perloff. So I did not follow this super closely last night, but Jason Kelce, I guess, opened the pregame show, or did he open the pregame show just come out of break with an apology for the incident at Penn State where he threw a fan's phone to the ground.
No, they came right out with it. It
Was
was
that
like,
the opener of the whole
we're here
show?
at
Okay.
Arrowhead, and Jason Kelsey's got something he'd like to say. And so this was Kelsey. This is a little bit, he started to ramble, but this was him apologizing for the phone. And also this fan said something reprehensible to him, just derogatory about his brother. And he repeated the word back several times. So here's Kelsey.
You know, listen, I think everybody's seen on social media everything that took place this week. That's what listen, I'm not happy with anything that took place. I'm not proud of it. And, you know, in a heated moment, I chose to greet hate with hate. And I just don't think that that's a productive thing. I really don't.
There you go. So do you think this thing all is put to bed now, or do you think Kelsey's going to have to change any of his behavior moving forward, like being in crowds and being drunk in crowds and stuff?
100% has to change his behavior. I mean, I think that's a nice line by him, and I think he's right. But he can't expose himself now because you said it yesterday. He's a target.
Whether he likes it or not, and I'm not saying that's his fault, I think people now will see him as, oh, I can get under Kelsey's skin. All I have to do is say something absolutely horrible, and then I'll get my 15 minutes of fame, because there's been more angles of this footage that came out, and now you get this young person who's got his face now plastered all over social media. And this is, I hate to say it, not for all young people, but for some, this is the currency now. It's like, if I get my 15 minutes or my 5 minutes, the way this news cycle goes, then I've done something.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be interesting for Kelsey.
We sound a little old. We say this is currency for young people now. God, I never. Yeah, that sounds like a.
Listen, I'm being nice. I'm
not
part. I mean, I'm not saying we're part of the problem, but the same currency goes in our business. And so we're not immune to it. Now, we would never say anything like this to get attention. And I think you and I are people of integrity. But people in our business do this, not stuff like this, but say outrageous things to get their 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I say young people, but no, I'll point the finger at all of us too.
Well, I think it's a little different. What this, people have outrageous takes is, is that what you're talking about?
But this is very different. This was horrible language.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the political realm, there are some people who say things that are more in that realm. In the sports world, it's just like, oh my God, the Cowboys stink or whatever. I do think that, listen,
Joel Embiid just shoved a reporter. That was not over saying you stink at basketball.
Yeah, but the column was not ideal, but still, like, that was ridiculous that Joel Embiid was just some printed words. Who cares? I thought Joel Embiid looked stupid doing that. Like, Joel Embiid's got to chill out. Like, he's so frustrated with his health right now, you can tell. He's another guy that's got to relax. Like, honestly, I hear you. I get killed on social media, and if that bothered me, I would be an idiot. So why all of a sudden are these professional athletes bothered about these hollow words all over the place?
I think everyone's got their pressure points. I'm not defending it. I think for Joel Embiid, clearly the pressure point there to, bring up, hey, you want your legacy to be something greater than you because of your brother who passed away tragically at 13 and someone you've named your son after your brother. I mean, to me, that definitely was going into a realm that just didn't need to be tapped into.
No, but is it worth shoving a columnist over that?
I don't think it's probably ever worth
this is crazy.
No, I don't think it's ever worth. You didn't let me finish.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever worth shoving somebody over.
Unless
is where I was going with it.
Unless it's Jim. Okay, sorry. Yeah. You're right. Unless it's Jim Rome taunting Jim Everett. I said Chris Everett. That was all-time awesome. But no, Joel.
And Jim's a legend,
Joel,
right? But
Jim
is also, that moment happened, but Jim also has added on a Hall of Fame career after that. This was not a one moment career. That guy who was like
Marcus Hayes, long time writer.
True.
I mean, he's no joke. I mean, he's covered this
Philly
team.
Inquirer, I get it.
And that being said, Joel Embiid, it's part of a much bigger problem. Like, Joel Embiid is got the wrong energy. Like, I don't care if he leaves anymore because he said, I've done so much for this city. Dude, you haven't done 1/3 of what Chase Utley did for this city. I don't want to hear it. I understand maybe he is very civically involved and he does a lot of charity. That's great. But don't pretend like you've won anything. Like, you've won nothing.
No, I thought
And you're not going to win anything either because you have this loser mentality.
I thought the bigger context when I saw that too, he's like, I've done so much for the city. And I was like, I got to see, there's got to be more to this. he was saying how he risked going blind because he came back early from an eye injury, was what he said right before that.
Oh, my God. You know what? I can't even start.
Perloff's like, I want both
I
eyes.
could care less. I'll watch him go out in 6 games in the second round as always because he's hobbling around. Honestly, like, I watch, you know that LeBron's up to $1.5 million a year on his body? Do you know what, do you think Joel Embiid, so first of all, don't play in the Olympics then. Like, I don't want to hear any of this. Like, any Sixers fans who's not over him, I do not understand it. Like, why would you even care at this point? But how do we even get here, by the way? Jason Kelsey pushing a fan, like, here's the thing. ESPN obviously talked to him, right? This was a forced apology.
Probably. But I don't know. Maybe he felt like he did use that language. Like, he said the bad word back to the guy. So I can understand wanting to get out in front of that and saying, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Do you think we see him doing crowd work again? Because he's done a lot of crowd work on these game day shows. I saw he was at the lot at the Giants game. Like, is he out amongst the people still? Can he do that?
I think it might be tougher. EJ, you got something.
The reason why I know this was a forced apology was because it did not come on the podcast. You would think this is an exclusive. Anybody who does this business, you want that exclusive moment of you talking about that incident on your podcast.
Well, they probably will do that too.
Well, I know, but I mean, now it's a little watered down, right? Like, I'm watching even Stephen A. Smith's fight with Kevin Durant. He's like, I'll have more to say on the Stephen A. Smith show later. Like, even regardless of what your
coming
individual,
up next.
Seriously though, whatever your individual jobs are, if you have your own platforms, you're going to do that. So to me, I was like, oh, if he's doing this now, because the In the Heights comes out, whatever it's called, comes out today, right, or tomorrow?
Yeah, New Heights.
New Heights. In the Heights. I'm
But
sorry.
so last night was first. So and he couldn't have been on ESPN last night and not talked about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I've seen them ignore worse.
No, he could. I don't think he could have gone on TV last night and not said anything about it. And they couldn't have taped the podcast because Travis was playing.
Well, he was playing, so I may push the podcast back.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
I think you're going to get more on the New Heights pod because you're going to have Travis who's probably going to say thank you for standing up for me, even if they don't like the language. But so Bogus, you just alerted me to the fact that the Kelseys, busy people, also named sexiest podcast hosts, which should not get lost in this conversation. I mean, that is, they really shouldn't be probably accepting a lot of medals and accolades over that because who's your competition?
Yeah.
Podcast host is not known to be a sexy job. This is not like, you're the sexiest of the swimsuit models. Like, that is tough competition.
You can have this one by yourself, Maggie.
I don't know. Now you have to be
podcast hosts.
Yeah.
You have to be like an A-list superstar to get a podcast now. So there's some sexy guys.
Who's sexier, Travis Kelce or Bill Simmons?
Saying
Adam Carolla.
I mean,
like, what are we doing here?
Jason
Joe
Bateman,
Rogan.
handsome guy.
Oh no! By the way, there
Bateman,
are other professional athletes. I don't think they're more handsome than Paul George.
You jabroni!
Very handsome man. Think about all the former players,
Channing Crowder,
all athletes that do.
Channing Crowder will swing with you. if
Channing
you want.
Crowder, I know, is a nudist.
Cam Newton does a podcast. He's another very handsome man.
I know Cam is handsome, but man,
Yeah,
that's
by
a
the way,
lot. It's a lot of look.
But you say Bill Simmons. Are you in a time machine to 2013? Now every superstar has a podcast.
I'm just thinking of the people
Obama
at
and
the
Bruce
top.
Springsteen had a podcast. Like, there are lots of sexy men with podcasts.
Maybe like one episode of that podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
By the way, and Jason Kelsey was he was a People's Sexiest Man Alive. He was one of the 5 finalists.
They gotta stop lying to us, though. Come on now.
Good losing guy right there. Nice mustache.
He got the TV glow up a little
Jason
bit.
Kelsey?
Yeah, come on now.
He's much, I was saying to
dude.
Bogus, he's much better looking now. He's losing that lineman weight. He's fitting into his suit nicely.
Looks better than he did in year 4 of his NFL career.
I mean, the O-line turned male model, the Joe Thomas, Matt Burke thing. I don't think he's going to go. But that's crazy, right? You get these 320-pound guys who come out with a six-pack 2 years later. What's up with that,
It
Meg?
only goes one of two ways. Either you become way bigger and
We
you're
don't see those
actually
guys.
tightening it up for the NFL, or you've been just carrying around all this extra weight and hate it, and you lose it immediately. Like CeCe Sabathia is not an offensive lineman. He's a pitcher. The moment he retired, he's down like 75 pounds.
This is terrible. Who was that guy at the Hall of Fame game who had a big tummy that we were all making fun of?
Darrell Revis.
Was it Revis? Oh, yeah.
I
But
believe
usually-
that was the Tommy Lugauer tweet that he ate Revis Island.
Linemen always lose weight. Like, you can't. They have to. I think most of those guys have to work really hard to stay up that heavy. 320.
But you have to also, because a lot of them have talked about it, there's a right way and a wrong way to come down from that weight too. Like, you can mess yourself up by going too fast, or it's not easy for them to get out of NFL playing weight.
So instead of 15 Uncrustables a day, you got to go down to 10 and then 8 and then 6.
You got to wean yourself off the calories, yeah.
Well, don't you
It's
just
like scuba divers who have to come up to the surface very slowly so they don't get the bends.
don't you just stop taking the HGH pills? Isn't it that simple?
Perloff, everybody's clean.
Where's that disclaimer that we have to run from legal?
You don't have to.
It's in pill form?
no. I don't know. How do you get HGH?
I don't know. You seem to know all about it. You've got everyone taking it.
Perloff makes it seem like they're handing it out on street corners.
Wait, you don't take a shot of HGH? I have no idea. Manny, you look like...
He looks like what?
HGH guy.
Okay.
It does look like he's on HGH. He's just the youngest.
So HGH is an injection. Sorry,
He's
my bad.
just 25. Jerk.
That's his skin.
Sometimes I
that
accidentally
baby
call him
skin.
Manny Ramirez, so I thought that he knew some steroids stuff.
Back.
Do we have time for a headline?
Sure. They're sponsored by PXG. Staying long and straight on the golf course is easier than ever with PXG clubs. Take your game to a whole new level and save $10 per club at pxg.com/football and use code football. Bucs head coach Todd Bowles played not to lose and lost anyway in KC on Monday Night Football. He kicked the tying PAT with 27 seconds left. Instead of going for the go-ahead 2-point conversion, his team never touched the ball in OT, losing 30-24 on Kareem Hunt's 2-yard TD run.
We were playing okay defensively. We thought we were moving the ball offensively. We thought we had a good shot in overtime. We didn't make the plays.
On one hand, the 24 points Tampa scored, the second most the Chiefs have allowed this season, but the 30 that KC scored is also a season high, so it really wasn't working in the right directions for Bowles' team. KC, meanwhile, is 8-0. They've won 14 straight overall, and they appear to have dodged a major concern last night. Patrick Mahomes hurt his left ankle early in the fourth quarter, but did not miss a snap and said he should be fine. 2 of his 3 touchdown passes went to DeAndre Hopkins. He, of course, was traded to KC recently. This morning, the Lions are acquiring Browns pass rusher Zadarius Smith, and running back Khalil Herbert goes from the Bears to the Bengals. Yesterday, Cincy said running back Zach Moss was out indefinitely with a neck issue. The trade deadline hits at 4 Eastern this afternoon. Gonzaga men's basketball is 1-0 for the 19th straight season. This might be the most impressive. The 6th-ranked Zags hammering number 8 Baylor 101-63 in Spokane last night. That is their largest margin of victory ever over a top 10 team. Cooper Flagg debuting with 18 points in Duke's 96-62 rout of Maine. And Ohio State led wire-to-wire in an 80-72 upset of number 19 Texas in Vegas. Every NBA team played last night since the league is closed today for the election. The Thunder took care of the Magic 102-86. They are 7-0 for the first time ever, with each of those wins coming by at least 12 points. Head coach Mark Daigneault kinda doesn't care.
We have great respect for the history of the organization. We have great respect for all the teams that have played here, all the players that have played here, so would never balk at that, but we're really focused on, improving every single day. We're really not getting caught up in our record, especially this early in the season. This is not the time to, put it on cruise control.
Now, they do have 75 games left. The Cavs are 8-0 rather for the second time ever after keeping the Bucs struggling 116-114. Darius Garland scored 39. Milwaukee's 1-6. Giannis didn't play last night with a strained adductor. The Suns outscored the Sixers 118-116 behind 35 from Kevin Durant. And the Kings won in Miami 111-110 on a Domantas Sabonis putback with 0.7 of a second left. And Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, and Corbin Burns among the 13 players who received qualifying offers before yesterday's deadline. That's worth $21.05 million if they want to stay with their current teams. If they leave via free agency, that team gets a draft pick as compensation. Guys, back to you.
Did I miss? Did you do John Moran at any point?
I did Zach Edey having a big game in a loss.
Did you guys see John Moran actually flew last night? The first human being ever to fly.
And you
guys
say he's not box office.
Well, I still think something about. I'm just not a fan. He reminds me a lot of Iverson. Like at the end of the day,
no one liked him.
He wasn't popular at all.
No, I know. But at the end of the day,
didn't do anything for the league.
Boring.
Is he a good enough shooter to win an NBA title? That's what I wonder
cares?
about.
The dude jumped and hung in the air and did a backwards 360.
Yeah, that's why you guys are all John Moran fans. I'm surprised everyone wasn't coming in talking about that. That was an insane
awesome
move. That was
It
like
was
Jordan.
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the radio, so it's...
Yeah, that's probably true. But actually, it was the first recorded human flight that I ever seen. I mean, he was up in midair, checked his watch, spun around, changed hands. It was crazy. I don't know how he did that.
I got punched.
And I say he's one of the most exciting players in the league. And Perloff's like, but can he shoot enough to win a title?
Well, that's like
you love Vince Carter, who never even barely sniffed a title, got to a finals.
I mean, Zion's the most exciting player.
Didn't play last night.
Right there. Ja's right there.
Yeah, but we've never seen anyone who looks like Zion do what Zion does on the 14 games he plays.
And it's not going well.
I was going to say.
Apparently, it's not a good combination.
Every
Did you see him in
fortnight-
that playoff game against the Lakers last year? He was great until he got hurt at the very end and they lost.
Yeah, and he couldn't finish out the series. It was
I'm
magical.
not saying that you get to see it a lot. Maybe that's what makes it more exciting.
Well, you don't see Ja a lot either because he's waving guns around on social media and had to take a seat for basically a year and a half.
Well, I got hurt. I mean,
That too.
are they? That's the other question too. Is Memphis like Ja? Unfortunately, he's got to be like a title contender. He's that good. He's an MVP style player, but he was good last night. I'll give you that.
Memphis.
855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, we have to pick our guys and gals for the college basketball season. So we're going to do that next. College basketball is kicked off, and we've got some more updates for you on the NFL trade deadline. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Sit back, relax, we got a break to go. In just 5 minutes, we'll be back on air. So take a breath, we'll soon be there. 5 minutes, 5 minutes,
30 seconds.
count it down. Maggie and Perloff, the best show in town. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and
4 minutes
Perloff
remaining.
Show. 4 minutes till we're back, let's go. You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's wait. 5 minutes now, it's gonna be great. Time's ticking down, it's almost here. Maggie and Perloff, we're so near.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
You're listening to the Maggie and Perloff Show. You're in a 5-minute break, so don't go far. Maggie and Perloff know who you are. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, count it down. The Maggie and Perloff Show will be back around.
3 minutes remaining.
Okay, I gotta get off. I gotta get off.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Cowboy Quickie Music got an update. Jerry doing radio this morning on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. Here's his update on Dak Prescott.
It's iffy, but it's extended period of time here, so I wouldn't dare make a prediction when it could be. It's likely we'll IR him, and so we'll see kind of how his rehab goes.
That's IR him. Put him on IR. IR him. Just gonna IR him right there. Like IR him is a verb or whatever. Anyway, it's going on IR likely.
See you later, Dak. God. You know what? At the time, we should have saw this. They should have not signed him. They should have not signed him and drafted Shedeur Sanders.
Well, that's a pipe dream now.
I mean, I know. I'm saying, by the way, it's not like Shedeur Sanders in Dallas would work. But
that would be a circus.
That would be. Hey, by the way, I wouldn't rule it out.
One more, John Machota, who covers the Cowboys for The Athletic, says the Cowboys, Jerry Jones said they're going to bring in a wide receiver today that they like a lot. They didn't say trade for him. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
So did somebody call Des Bryant? I don't know.
Is
they
it,
brought back Ezekiel Elliott, so.
I mean,
Mike
listen.
Orban busy?
I don't care. Well, now that Dak's hurt, like, do you bring in a receiver? Like, I don't know what. Do you bring in Kendrick Bourne? What's the point?
Feels all like very too little too late. All right, we got a lot to do in the last couple minutes here. Let's get to it. Phil's in Pennsylvania. Phil, you got an update for us.
Yes, I received the package. Thank you very much. And I will actually give you an Office Space quote, loosely translated. Now, Perloff, this is how you do a voice. Hey, Maggie, thank you for the cornhole, man.
You're welcome. Phil had given us his Randall Cunningham jersey. We thought we would run into Randall at the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Never happened. Couldn't get it signed for Phil, so we sent it back to him with a whole bunch of other fun goodies.
Wait, I thought you said an Office Space impersonation.
Office Space quote, yeah. It's Lawrence, you know, when he thinks Peter's being sent to prison, he says, look out for your cornhole, so I had to do a little bit of a...
Oh, gotcha.
But
I thought there was some Randy Savage mixed in there. I didn't know what it was.
I got another one for you for Sirianni. Sirianni is really lucky that he's not in with the Bob's Consulting, because if he were, they'd ask him, what would you say you do here? He doesn't run the offense. He doesn't run the defense. He just makes bad decisions. What are you doing here?
I don't know why he's even able to make the decisions he's making, Phil. Thank you. And, Phil, sorry, we're up against it. I'm glad you got the package safe and sound. And sorry we could never get that Randall Cunningham jersey signed.
Sorry.
Turns out Randall's kind of a hard guy to meet.
Yeah, it was weird. So Nick Sirianni's 40-19 as a head coach. That's the second highest winning percentage of all active coaches, one of the highest winning percentages in Eagles history. They could fire him tomorrow, or he could continue his trajectory to the Hall of Fame. With him, you never know.
If he ends up in the Hall of Fame.
Dude's got a lot of W's. It's crazy. You just can't fire him because he keeps winning. and if he has A.J. Brown healthy and Saquon Barkley and Lane Johnson all on the field, he's going to keep winning, Maggie.
So we quickly have only a moment or two to pick our college basketball guys and gals for the season. Now, this is it. Perloff, no bandwagon jumping. You pick these people. This is who you're riding with for the entire season.
You're giving me anybody I want.
Go ahead. We're all going to do it. Go
this
quickly.
Little guy named Cooper Flagg, who is awesome.
Front runner.
Watched him last night. And this little gal named Juju Watkins.
Perloff. Wow.
Well, you just said there's no draft. So
Michael Jordan and Lisa Leslie.
Yeah. I watched. So I didn't love Juju's game last year, but she was a totally different player. I watched her play yesterday. She
sucked last year. Good call.
No, she was sort of a chucker. Now she came out. She said, "I'm gonna have 1 million assists this year." She's like Caitlin. She's really improved. I know that sounds weird, but she's a different player already. She's gonna be great this year.
Man, Dallas Cowboys and New York Yankees, Notre Dame football, Duke basketball.
Stu Kovacs.
You said it. Well, what bandwagons are you going to pick? What am I going to pick? Like
Okay, I'll
the
give you mine.
shooting guard at Southwest Missouri State?
I'm going with Ace Bailey from Rutgers. Ace Bailey with Steve Peichel, who was an assistant coach when I was a student at George Washington University. Love to see his glow up. Teammates with Dylan Harper. That's who I'm going with on the guy side. For the gals, I'm going with Maddie Booker. Now, she is the reigning SEC Freshman of the Year for Texas, but she's completely taken over a new set of responsibilities after an injury last year forced her a little more into point guard responsibilities. Now she's going to be solid small forward, or basically, she's awesome. Maddie Booker, yo.
Okay, so I'll go here. I'm going to go women's first because I think the men's one will maybe be not a surprise. I'm going to go with Audie Crooks, Iowa State center, who had 40 points in the NCAA tournament game round 1. And then for my men's, this is going to be the year of the Zags. So I'm going to go with Mark Few, who actually will get his love and finally win his national championship.
I wanted Crooks, too. That's my second choice. He's awesome.
Okay, Bogues.
I'm taking VJ Edgecombe from Baylor, who almost killed Mark Few's son by dunking on him in this game last night. And then Hannah Hidalgo, Notre Dame. She was the ACC Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year last year. Scorer, passer, steals the ball as well. Give me her and give me VJ.
And it looks like we have some very late breaking news. Jonathan Mingo has been signed by the Cowboys.
Oof.
You did it.
Final piece.
Trade from the Carolina Panthers to the Cowboys. Mission accomplished, Jer. Got him.
Yeah. Jared's like, wait, this isn't Barkevius Mingo. What's going on here?
Thank you. Arm right there. EJ Stewart, Manny Rodriguez, Bogusch and Kaplan.
You're in a 5-minute break.